Well, Dr. Frazier, we are going to be getting started in just 1 minute. So there's kind of a couple things happening here. We are streaming. Well, first of all, everyone that you see on the screen are actually co-authors in the book, of course, Pam Perry included.
Right.
And we also have a number of folks on live who you can't see. So we have about 100 attendees on the webinar, and then we just started streaming live to Facebook. And so
Okay.
probably have a few hundred people listening through there as well. So I am actually going to get us started. What we're going to do is do a quick kickoff. I'll set some context. I will actually turn it over to Pam to introduce you, and then the floor will be yours. Does that work?
That'll work. What do you want me to talk about?
So really, it's just context setting. Again, we're really excited to have you as the, really one of the legendary figureheads as we think about this group. Of course, Black Speakers Network, I feel like is built on the shoulders of the work that you, as well as Les Brown, has done in terms of paving the way for, not just speakers, but really entrepreneurs of color at large. And so really, the individuals on this call and on this webinar are going to be folks who are either current or aspiring professional speakers. And so really anything that's on your mind, just in terms of,
Okay.
Talking to that group about what's possible and also why your voice matters would be, I think, great. Pam, do you have any additional, thoughts there?
I want you to, yeah, George, if you can kind of tell that story about the first time you spoke at P&G.
Oh. You want me to embarrass myself again? Okay, I'll do it. I can do it.
Okay, that would be good. It's just encouraging for people, that's all.
You're going to tell me when to start?
Yeah, we're going to actually go ahead and get started. I just wanted to see if you had any other questions or if you were good to go.
No, I'm good, and I'm honored, actually. That is.
We're honored. We appreciate you carving out time and excited to have you on this project. So, thank you again.
Well, thank you. So let me get started.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit record,
okay,
and then we'll kick off, and I'll turn it over to Pam and have her.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So Pam, hit record. First of all, to everyone that's live, first of all, I know we have a couple audiences, so welcome. And I actually kind of prefer it that way because this is Black Speakers Network. You get an opportunity to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. And I'm about to hit record in a moment for those who are live on the webinar. I want to go ahead and welcome you. Very excited. Just a couple administrative things to think about. First of all, if you haven't already done so, you can communicate with us in the chat box. So go ahead, and I think we have a prompt there to write your name, what city you're from, and also if you haven't already done so, I put temperature just because I know we got some folks that are freezing and some people like Danielle down in Ecuador that are hanging out in very nice temperatures. So go ahead and drop that in. But in terms of just utilizing the functions of the webinar today, if you could use the chat feature to, some of the speakers throughout the day are going to be asking you questions and engaging you. So you could use the chat feature to communicate with us, or if you need help, just raise your hand. Our moderator, Tamara Lewis, will be on and she'll be able to help you if you have issues. So you'll be able to hear us. Your audio is muted, so you won't be able to hear us. In addition to that, we have a Q&A box, which you should see visible on your screen. It looks a little something like this. You see my screen. So if you click that Q&A box, if you have questions, with the number of speakers on this webinar, we won't have questions available right afterward. But if they say something, they spark something in your mind and you're thinking you want to ask an additional question, they will be paying attention to those questions throughout the course of the webinar. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Again, if you have questions, let us know. And with that, we'll get started. For our folks joining us on Facebook Live, hello. Thank you so much for joining as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and start recording. And I think we are recording. All right. So again, want to go ahead and welcome everyone to we are here, the official launch of Speak Up, the book. It is live on Amazon as of yesterday, and lots to talk about there, but I'm really excited. First of all, let me get my screen going. So allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Oates. No? Okay. I always wanted to do that, Dr. Frazier. So Brian Oates here, founder and principal consultant here at Black Speakers Network, where our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. And it's my honor and privilege to kick us off for this virtual launch event. This is a long time coming. We started this project and crazy idea in November and had the audacity to think that we could potentially add to the thought leadership of the incredible voices that are already in the professional speaking space, but just we're a little bit underrepresented from our perspective for speakers of color. And so we had the thought, got to work on it, and less than 3 months later, here we are with a book. And you know, for those of you watching, if you've already went ahead and purchased, let's go ahead and give me a number 1 in the chat box or a quick acknowledgement that you purchased, or if you're thinking about purchasing, we have the link right there, speakupthebook.com. But very, very proud. I could not be more humbled by the individuals that are part of this project, the 32 authors, 10 of which you'll get an opportunity to hear from today, represent the best of the best in this industry. These are thought leaders who we personally trust that are not only speakers in their own right, but also just incredible at sharing resources and information to you. And so I won't take anything away from that. We'll have an opportunity to meet each one, but definitely wanted to take a moment and answer 3 critical questions before I turn it over to Pam. Question number 1 is, you know, what is BSN? Question 2 is why now? And then question 3 is, I want to give you a quick preview of what's inside the book and what's to come. And so why BSN? We already talked about a little bit. Again, Black Speakers Network. I started this organization in 2016 with the goal of really just creating a stronger pipeline of speakers. And just looking around the industry, you know, I noticed that there seemed to be a lack of representation, really, especially at the top levels of speaker, but really everywhere. And coming from a historically Black college university, Morgan State University, where I got involved with Toastmasters. I fell in love with speaking, and I knew that not only is it a powerful platform to be able to share our voice, but it's also could be an incredible mechanism for changing your destiny as a really for the entire family tree, in terms of being able to take something that's in your head and solve a problem for somebody else. And so here at BSN, we say, you know, our entire goal is helping you to connect with the audience that you're called to serve. And I couldn't be more proud of the work we've done just in 2 years and the work that we're going to continue to do moving forward. That's a little bit about BSN. If you're new to the organization, if you haven't already gotten involved, I highly recommend it. We have 2 levels of membership, but we are a speaker development and empowerment organization. So you can get involved for free if you're just trying to figure out what we're all about, what's happening. We have a lot of virtual training. We have an amazing community on Facebook as well as LinkedIn and Instagram that you can get ideas, share best practices, connect with other speakers, get thoughts to help you out. But in addition to that, we have another level of membership for those that are actively building their speaking business, and that's called BSN Silver. BSN Silver is $15 per month. And as part of that, our goal is to increase your visibility as a speaker, working with incredible partners like Pam Perry with Speakers Magazine, making sure your profile and your link is on our website and shared across our platforms. We send out at least 15 speaker opportunity alerts per month to our silver members. So if you're looking to get on more stages, you could take advantage of that. And in addition to that, we share resources and tools like you'll hear from our speakers today. So lots to connect with, but the entire goal of this project for Speak Up the Book and the entire goal of the organization is to take away all excuses that you don't know how to build a speaking business. If you have a question about how to get started, how to get paid as a speaker, how to develop your mission, your message, then we're here for you. So that's a little bit about BSN. That's a little bit why now. And just to share what's inside, I give you a sneak preview of some of the chapters. The main thing I want you to know is that as you're thinking about building a speaking business, we recognize there's a lot of individual skills that go into that. Many of those skills are developed over time. It's not something that you can do overnight. So we broke down the 5 major areas that you will need to develop as a speaker. And we call these the 5 M's. And essentially, everything that we do at BSN is focused on helping you develop in these 5 fundamental areas, the 5M model for professional speaking success. And so the first one is your mission. And so the structure of the book is focused on those 5 M's. So in that first section of the book, we're talking about developing your mission. And the mission, you're asking yourself, why am I a speaker? What is my message that I want to share to the world? And what problem am I actually solving? And so Summer Alexander, Lynetta Holston, and Dr. Will Moreland are sharing them 3 chapters under the mission section, as you can see there. We also have message, and under message, we're now getting to the part where you know who it is you're speaking to, but really just trying to refine your core message. You're thinking about how do you communicate, how do you package it, how do you deliver. We start to get into things like storytelling and using book variety, hand gestures, a lot of those things that you learn in Toastmasters. And so we have 3 amazing authors speaking under the message section. We have Horace, Keandra, and Cliff that are going to be contributing to that. We have marketing, which I'm not even going to go through all the names because we're short on time. But as you can see, marketing is a big component of building your speaking business. And certainly that's, how do you attract, now that you know the audience that you're serving, what mechanisms, what tools, what resources, what content are you putting out to actually attract that audience to you? And so here are some of the speakers that are part of that section. Monetize. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's one thing to have a great message and to be a phenomenal public speaker, but it won't mean anything, or you won't be able to do it for long if you're not able to monetize that message and to create some actual income. And so it goes well beyond getting a check for speaking. There are so many different ways to get paid in this business. And what we wanted to do was make sure that you had a good understanding of that. So here are our speakers that focus on monetizing your speaking business. And then the last end focuses on management. And so like any business, you have to put in systems. You're going to need legal protection. You're going to need to file your taxes. You're going to need to organize. There's so many different things to make sure that you are running this as a business. And so with that in mind, we have a section focused on that. So that's a little bit of what's coming up in the book. Again, it is available today on Amazon. If you already got it, thank you so much for your purchase. I truly believe that this is going to be a game changer for the speaking industry. And I'm not saying that myself. I am extremely humbled to turn it over to Pam right now because we have a special guest speaker who is going to be sharing some wisdom with you. And, this person has spent nearly 3 decades pouring into the lives of other individuals. So not going to steal Pam's introduction, but Pam Perry, I just want to say one thing about her. Number one, I'm gonna go back to Marsha in a minute after Pam, but Pam Perry, I remember my very first conversation with her. I was in the parking lot of a Dunkin' Donuts, and she was telling me about this concept called Speakers Magazine. And Pam's one of those people you talk to for like 2-3 minutes, and you just know, like, it doesn't even matter. She could have been selling vitamin water out the trunk of the highway, and I would have been like, yes, because she just has that personality. But it's been a match made in heaven. She's been an incredible partner. Speakers Magazine is the official magazine of Black Speakers Network, and you'll see representation from our speakers in there every single month. She's up in Detroit doing amazing work, an incredible PR expert in her own right. And as you can see, she's also a featured author in the book. So Pam, thank you so much. Thank you. It's to her credit that we were able to have Dr. Frazier, and also Les Brown engaged in this project. So I appreciate you, and I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Well, first I want to say thank you, Brian. This has been awesome. And I'm going to start with the quote that I heard from Dr. George Frazier. Teamwork makes the dream work. Now let us build. That has been ingrained in my brain like for at least 3 decades. Dr. George Frazier is my mentor. I think a lot of things that I say are because of him. I met him about 25, 30 years ago. Just a young thing, right? A PYT, right? And I remember meeting him, and I was captivated. Me and my husband, Mark, we met him through an organization called Blacks in Advertising, Radio and Television. Again, George has always been about bringing people together, especially Black people. One of the things that when George does talk, and I have heard him speak at least 60, 70 times, is that, yes, I am Black. Right? He'll say that at the very beginning, because people are like, is this, why do they have at the NAACP, why do he'll have to say that. But he has always been about bringing Black people together. His first book, I love, Success Runs in Our Race. That book, if you don't have it, young people, it's in colleges and everything, but Success Runs in Your Race changed my life. I mean, the book is probably, what was it, 400 pages, George? I'm not sure. But that was a book that really, before Black people were really writing a lot of books, that was a book that really changed the game for a lot of Black authors and for Black people to really get their voices heard, because he really talked about how success does run in our race. And then he wrote another book as well, and he's written several books. But I remember sitting with George, and it's so important. When Brian first told me about Speak Up the book, I said, we've got to have George do the foreword, because that's really what he is. He's one of the premier speakers in the world. He's one of the premier people that have been in Vital Speeches of the Day, which does not happen. Everything he visualized and that he actually had in his mind that he wanted to do happened. I remember sitting with George one time at a conference in Cleveland. We were working on the success guide, right? Again, bringing together the professional Black people. And he said, I'd like to be, this was way before anything, even before the book. He says, I'd like to be on the cover of Black Enterprise one day. And we were like, okay. And of course, he was holding us down in a meeting that was like 8 hours long. We were like, okay, that's going to happen. Can we go now? It's like, because he loved to share resources and information, and he can go. So it was like, he's going to be on the cover of Black Enterprise. And sure enough, did it not happen? So knowing him being part of the book, part of the foreword, he has the golden touch. What he says, he manifests. What he sees, he manifests. He's a person that will take something that you see and really bring it to his network, which is massive, and really help you do what you need to do. So if you're not connected with him, learn how to network, because everything that I have learned about networking and really putting together people and really making sure that we as a people get stronger, I learned from George. I learned from Dr. George and Les Brown as well. The two of them together, they're like the bookends for Speak Up, right? You've got two legendary speakers that believe in you, not just like, oh, I put the words in there, but they believe in you. They're taking their time, which they are so busy, to really scroll the words down in the beginning and the end of the book, but also to encourage you and to share about what you're doing. So they believe in you. Dr. George, I thank you so much. You just don't know how much I appreciate you. I mean, I hear your voice in my head a lot, and I'm like, that's a Georgism. You know, even when I say those that show up, go up, I think sometimes if you hear things more than 3 times, you can kind of take it. So I think I've taken that. I think you might have said that one time. So it's like those that show up, go up. And that's kind of like what you always say. Show up to Power Networking, show up to conferences, show up and be ready and be prepared. So Dr. George, thank you so much. I just love you and adore you and what you have done for the speaking industry and for Black people, just for Black people, period. Thank you.
God bless you. What an introduction. Did we record that? Did somebody record that? I think I'm going to play that introduction every time I speak from now on. All right. Well, Pam is a gem. Brian, thank you for doing this. The Black Speakers Network is absolutely necessary. we're going to talk about how to expand the reach of this extremely important, what I believe will end up being an institution in the menu of incredible products and services offered by Black people to this world, a Black Speakers Network. That's a powerful idea, a big vision, and I applaud you for that. I really do. And Pam, thanks for joining in on that. Thanks for linking both myself and Les Brown to this project. I know Les couldn't be happier. One of the beautiful things I love about Les Brown is Les has made a commitment, a life commitment, to teach, coach, and educate around the skills and art and science of speaking 10,000 new speakers, right? And I think he's about halfway there. So he's deeply committed to certainly helping our people become great at the art and science of speaking. The interesting factoid about Les is when I started my company 31 years ago, we put on a series we started by putting on a series of networking events locally in a very large and popular bar in Cleveland, Ohio called Vels. And Vels was huge. They also used to bring in entertainment. And so I convinced the owner that we would once a month, change the happy hour into a networking event where there will still be a happy hour and he would get the bar because that's what he wanted. We would get the door because we were going to charge $5. And remember now, this is 31 years ago. And we'd do the happy hour and then we'd break it off at about an hour into it. And I would give some networking lessons and bring on a popular speaker, right? Because while I was a good writer, I was not a good speaker. And I'll tell you a story about that. So speaking is not necessarily giftedness. You learn it, and you learn it by failing. That's certainly how I did. That's certainly how all of us who are now considered great speakers. So Les Brown was a very good friend of mine, or is a very good friend of mine, has been for 50 years. I knew Les when he was in Columbus doing his radio jockey stuff. And then he went on to the State House in Ohio. And then he decided he didn't want to do politics. He wanted to be a speaker. So I called up Les and said, Les, I'm doing these networking events in Cleveland, Ohio. I know this is sort of a new kind of thing, but I promised them a keynote speaker each month, and I would like for you, if you feel up to it, to be the first speaker of the first Success Net event, because that's what it was called, Success Through Networking. And Les said, I'll be there. So I said, listen, I got about $250, $300. That's what I can give you. So he agreed to take that, and that was Les Brown's first major speech in the history of Les Brown's speaking career. And I wasn't sure, but Les had this, of course, melodious, beautiful voice. He was a radio disc jockey. So I figured, he could pull it off. And man, did he nail it. And people were standing in the chairs. Les was beaming, that 25 watt or 100 watt smile that he has. And everybody won. Les won, SuccessNet won, and the people that we both serve, the participants won. So I love Les Brown for his commitment to teaching speakers, for his commitment to his people, and for being one of the best in the business. I mean, he certainly led the way for Black speakers in this country. When I say led the way, there were always great Black orators, our pastors, great orators, Frederick Douglass, a great orator, W.B. Du Bois, a great orator, Marcus Garvey, great. They were always great orators, but Les had that crossover appeal, and then he had that Black thing going for him, and he used it to the nth degree, and he laid the path for many of us. And certainly much of what I learned about speaking was through observing Les Brown and him giving me tips and teaching me how to tell stories. So I owe my speaking career to him, to have the courage really to go out into a public platform And I didn't want to be like Les. You don't want to be like Les. There's only one Les. There's only one person that can do less, and that's Les. But you certainly want to craft your skills in such a way, develop your skills in such a way that you can deliver, and you can excite, and you can engage people, and you can make people laugh. And I think Les led the way for all of us who are now public speakers in public forums. And speaking about something other than our struggle. I mean, that's Frederick Douglass was probably the greatest leader in the history of Black people. Because he was one of the greatest orators, and he talked about the struggle. But there are so many other subjects to talk about and to engage in that we need to, and Les has shown us a path to how to do that. My speaking career started basically with Procter & Gamble. My background is I spent 13 years in brand management with Procter & Gamble, 3 years as vice president of United Way, and 2 years as an executive with Ford. I was to be one of the first Black Ford Lincoln Mercury dealers in America. There were 12 of us that were selected to go through a minority dealer development program. And I graduated from that program and decided I didn't want to sell cars. I'd probably have 50 franchises by now, but I just didn't think that that's what God wanted me to do. Nothing wrong with selling cars. Lots of my friends do, and they make a lot of money, but that wasn't my path. And I wanted to teach and preach and evangelize and speak on the power and importance of the relationships in our lives. But my early years with Procter & Gamble as a leader, and I was promoted at Procter & Gamble far sooner than I ever thought I should have been promoted. Part of that had to do with my emotional intelligence. Some of it had to do with my language skills and selling skills. But I never thought with such an illustrious organization with white folks graduating from Harvard with an MBA, sitting on the bench waiting for an opportunity at Procter & Gamble, that I would get in the game and then be promoted very, very quickly. So I perhaps sooner than I thought. Maybe they saw something in me that I didn't see in me. But one of the responsibilities as a leader at Procter & Gamble was not only recruiting at colleges, but speaking. If you're going to lead, you got to either speak and or write. You better be able to do one of them, preferably both of them effectively. And so it came that time in my early leadership stages at P&G to give a presentation to a large body of Procter & Gamble executives who were probably assessing me for my speaking skills. Prior to that, I had not really spoke on a platform or at a podium in any significant way. And so that day came where I had to do it. And I was nervous, and they called me out, and I found myself getting even more nervous. And by the time I had gotten to the podium, I was so nervous that I could hardly breathe. I mean, this is the actual truth. And because I could hardly breathe, you could hardly talk. And something biologically happens to you when you have psychologically a tough time breathing based on fear and pandemonium. Your body shuts down. And fortunately, my manager noticed that there was something very different about me because he was sitting in the front row watching me, anticipating my talk. It was a short talk, about 15 minutes. And he saw the skin color change. He saw me laboring with breath. He saw the fear of God in me. And he saw me crumbling. So I was just sort of melting like the Wicked Witch of the West. And he was smart enough and elegant enough to get up on the stage, come behind me, elegantly hold his arm around me to keep me from falling and escorted me from the podium, and then came back and said to the audience, well, George Fraser is experiencing some medical problems, and he will do his presentation at another time. So he cleaned it up for me. But basically, I was gripped with fear and about to faint. That was my first real public experience with speaking. So now I'm highly embarrassed, but I'm now very determined. I said, okay, one of two things could have happened. I could have said, speaking is not for me. This is not what God wants me to do, and just sort of given up on it. Or, as they say, once you fall off the horse, you better get back on it, or right away, or you're probably never going to do it again. Well, I decided that I was going to get back up on the horse, that I was going to learn the art and science of speaking, and that my first step for doing that was to join a local Toastmasters. Basically, at Toastmasters, if you've gone through it, you learn the art and science of overcoming your fear of speaking, right? And there are lots of people that fear speaking. They say that the greatest fear that humans have is the fear of speaking. It is greater than the fear of dying. So the number one fear is the fear of speaking. The number two fear is the fear of dying. And the number three fear is the fear of speaking and dying in front of an audience. Because that's exactly what I did. I had all three fears at the same time. So I got back up on the horse. I joined a Toastmaster, and just inch by inch, as they say, inch by inch, it's a cinch, by the yard, it's hard. I got over fear. That was the number one thing. I then began to think deeply about what it takes to become a great speaker. So I began reading books. I began going every place that I could go. I followed Les Brown around like a little puppy, right? Just to watch his style and to be inspired by him and to be infected, affected, and effected by his passion. And it was, and others, not just Les, but there were others. Of course, we are all churchgoers, and we spend a lot of time sitting in the congregations, watching the masters of oratory in the Black culture, and that is our pastors. And so I learned a lot from watching our pastors and analyzing what they're doing and what they're not doing. But one of the great things that pastors are masterful at is telling stories. They're taking a passage from the book, we all read that passage together, as you well know, and then they turn it into a masterful story. So my advice to you, and you're probably past the freak out fainting stage that I was in some nearly 50 years ago at Procter & Gamble. You're probably past that. And you're probably now working on how to refine your story, because you have to tell a story. It begins with your story, right? People are interested in who you are and why you're standing there. And what have you overcome? What hills and valleys and twists and turns have you in fact overcome? And what are your experiences that you bring to your talk, right? Now, this is easy to say. This is very difficult to do, because telling your story requires transparency. Maybe telling some of the things that you're ashamed of, or that you did really bad, or that you totally screwed up. But that's really the most interesting thing about all human beings, that we learn more from failure than we do from success. Les and I wrote a book on this called Mission Unstoppable, Extraordinary Stories of Failure's Blessings, right? Did I learn a massive lesson, nearly fainting, right? In front of one of the most prestigious corporate audiences in the world, Procter and Gamble, Push and Grab, Procter and God, the inventors of branding and marketing, and I'm there fainting. Yes, I learned a lot. And I'm grateful for that. And actually, as I think about it, I would never trade that experience for anything because it's turned out to be a wonderful story. But I had to have the courage to tell that story. And you're going to have the courage to tell your story. Now, you don't bore people, in your speech with 2 hours of your story, but there has to be something woven into your talk that connects and engages people and help them find the truth and the credibility and the wisdom and experience in what you plan to talk about. Your next, I think, thing that you think about is the crafting of your speech. And that comes through your assessment of your world, your ideas based on that assessment, your truth based on your assessments, something that you've noticed that needs to be addressed, and only you can address it in your special way. So you'll never be able to say what I say exactly the way I say it because my story, right, is unique to me. And so how I address it comes out of my own life and my own story. So how you will address what you speak about will come out of your life, your story, your experience, the books that you read, and the wisdom that you gather from life. So you have to think about that deeply. There's something that you're passionate about, some seed that God has put in you that you want to communicate to any two people that will stand and listen to you. And I think if you meet people that have met me, or if you've been listening to me speak, or you've watched my YouTube stuff over the last 30 or 40 years, there's a ton of stuff on YouTube. But if you're like Pam, if you heard me 30 years ago, there's a common thread in the 2,000 speeches I've given around the world. Yes, I've given over 2,000 speeches, traveled 8.5 million frequent flyer miles. Yes. I've been saying the same damn thing for 40 years. I said it a little differently. I tell different stories and different anecdotes, but I am so passionate about what I believe God has put in me to deliver to his people that I have found many ways to say the same things. If you heard me 40 years ago, I was saying the same things. I was not saying it perhaps as eloquently with as much experience and wisdom and knowledge and quips. And I've learned how to say those things more in a more tight kind of way, a more inspiring kind of way. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll notice that my memes, the things that I post every day, is a real lesson in how to say a lot with a little. They're quips, how to say a lot with a little. It is much harder writing short than it is long. Okay, it's also much harder speaking short than it is speaking long. If someone gave you 5 minutes to speak, could you say something that would move them? Right? Could you say something that would move them, that would come out of the texts of your talks? Right. I remember just last Saturday, I was invited to an event and someone called me up to introduce me and just sort of shake my hand and said, George Fraser was my mentor. And he didn't want me to speak. He just wanted people to see that I was there and that he was giving credit where credit was due. And so his name was Keith. It was in Houston, Texas. And I said, Keith, can I just say one thing? He said, sure. And there were about 500 people in the audience. And I said, because he had talked about how I taught him the art and science of networking, right? Building relationships and how that changed his life. And so he had the microphone on his chest. And so I just picked it up a little bit, and I said, I just want to say to everybody in the audience today, be careful whose toes you step on today, because they may be connected to the ass you may need to kiss tomorrow. Well, everybody hollered and laughed and stood up and applauded. So there I had 30 seconds to speak and to say something that would engage his audience. So he fell out laughing, and he said, Dr. Fraser taught me that many, many years ago. So, but all of this comes out of one's story. So what is your assessment of the world today and the world around you? What are your ideas? What are your truths? What have you extracted from that? Right? And then what are your solutions? Because we just cannot pontificate ad nauseum about our issues, about the things that hold us back. We have to give solutions, right? And where did solutions come from? The solutions come from out of your own damn life. That's what the solution, that's where they come from. Because here's what everybody is thinking in the audience, but will never say to you, but they're thinking it. They're thinking, as you are pontificating, they're thinking, I wonder if George is doing what he's talking about. Or is George just talking about it? Mama taught me many years ago, what you do speak so loudly, I can't hear what you say. Are you doing it? The best stories, the most passion and excitement that you will emit to your audiences, the most engaging things will come out of how, not only how passionate you say it, but that passion will come out of the activities that you're actually doing to facilitate the truths and the ideas that you are articulating. All right. So what is your solution? What is your conclusion? At the end of the day, how do you conclude? Do you use the speaker's palette? The speaker, like the artist, has a palette. It begins with words. Words are powerful. We have fallen in love with just words. We've stopped wars with just words. So words are powerful. The Bible is words, 800,000 words. In fact, there are only 1,000 words in the Bible actually spoken by Jesus Christ. And there are 800,000 words about this awesome human being. But only 1,000 of those words actually came out of Jesus Christ's mouth. So words are powerful. We are still being led by words put in books and spoken 500 years ago, words. Then there is the syntax of those words, how you structure them, what order you put them in. How easy is it for the audience to grasp what you're saying? If you've watched me speak, sometimes I will make what I believe to be a very important and powerful point. I may use a quote, for example. You may have seen me do that. One of the most popular and famous things that I do is to repeat what I say 2 or 3 different ways. One of my favorite quotes is by Marcus Aurelius. He said this in 160 AD. Marcus Aurelius was one of the 5 great Caesars. And it was Marcus Aurelius who said that the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's deep. And then I would say to my audience, let me say that another way. The obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. What is the first thing God does when God gives you an assignment? He puts an obstacle in your way. Your job is to find a way over, around, and through, and under the obstacle. And when you do that, you get an atta girl and an atta boy. And then you get your next assignment at a slightly higher level. And then what is the next thing that God does? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacle. And when you look back over your life, you will see that is exactly the path of your life, which is overcoming obstacles. That is the path of our people's lives, overcoming obstacles, so that we could be standing here talking to you, figuring out how to get over the next obstacle, which is the path to the way. So you see what I said? I reiterated it twice, two different ways, and then I gave a story. This is powerful speaking. And this is what you're going to have to do. So words, syntax, inflection, body movement, body stance, facial gestures, and tone of voice. That's the palette of the great speaker. That's the palette. So you've got a lot of tools to use, but the first tool is the biggest sex organ on your body. Do you know what the biggest sex organ on your body is? Your brain. Ask any sister, brothers. Your brain. Right? So you got to use your brain. You've got to read. You've got to analyze. You've got to assess. You've got to create. And then you can't just speak your words. You can't stand there and read a speech. Now, there are people that do that, and there are people who are really good at reading, but that's not the best way to do it. We, as Black people, we like to perform our words. There's a difference between just speaking them and performing them. This is what great actors know how to do. The words are written, they're given the words, they learn the words, and then they perform the words. That is what all great speakers do. Write your speech. If you're going to do a great speech, I believe you're going to write it first. Now, I first became well known for writing speeches, not speaking speeches. In fact, Pam mentioned, I am the only professional speaker in America that has had 5 of his speeches published by Vital Speeches of the Day. Now, this is it. So in case you think we're kidding, right? So what does it say down here? It says the best thought of the best minds on current national questions. If you see this, you will see George Fraser right here. That's me, right? You will see Margaret Thatcher there. And so what Vital Speeches does is each month they find the 12 greatest speeches given in the world, and then they reprint them and redistribute them globally to the thinkers and the writers and the senior executives of companies. Now, I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. So I first became well known for my writing of speeches, not my performance of speeches. It all began with writing the words, right? This particular speech, it's called The Slight Edge, Valuing and Managing Diversity. I wrote this in January of 1998. 1998. They were just beginning to start talking about cultural diversity and inclusion. So I did some thinking and I laid out a masterful speech on the subject matter that was light years ahead of where the thinking was at that time. This is 1998, right? So write your speech. You're not going to read your speech, but you're going to write it so that you can fully develop your thoughts, get your facts right, get your thoughts in the right sequence, and end up with the right solutions and the powerful conclusions, right? And then you'll perform your speech. Now, how do you do that? You just simply take the words that you've written, put them, print them in speech bold. This is what I do. And then I stand at my desk with a little portable podium. This is back in the day. And then I perform them. And I first start out reading them. So I may read them and try to perform them at the same time. And I'll do it. There's a mirror over here. And I'll look at myself in the mirror, and I'll look at my facial expressions, and I'll look at how I say the words and where I put the emphasis and so forth. And then I perform them. And so I do that over and over and over and over until, if I wanted to, I could actually read the speech, but you would think that I was performing it. That's how well I know the speech. We've seen a masterful difference in presidents and their ability to perform that. There's Barack Obama giving his speech from prepared text and his ability to do that or get almost naturally, and Donald Trump. Two entirely different things. So Pam had mentioned that I was on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine. Well, here it is. Here it is. I'm so proud of this. And there's a whole story to how that happened. It took 8 years for it to happen, but it took a relationship with Earl Graves, one of my early mentors as well. But Earl saw me speak as I was refining my speaking and read words that I had written, and was very impressed by the depth of the thought, but the uncomplicated way in which I communicated it and engaged audiences and made them laugh and made them cry and took people on a roller coaster ride, because that's what a great speaker is, right? You take people on a roller coaster ride through hills and valleys, twists and turns. You make them laugh, you make them cry, you make them cheer, you make them think, right? A great speaker not only understands the syntax of powerful words, but a great speaker provokes, inspires, and empowers people. Now, the words that you speak provoke, inspire, and empower people. When they leave you, is there just one takeaway that may change the life of even just a handful of people in that audience? That's your goal. That's your job. That's what God has put you here for, right? Or you just would not be headed down this path. All right. So I wrote a meme the other day. I hope you saw it on my Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter page. And I said, success happens when you starve distractions and feed your focus. Success happens when you starve your distractions and feed your focus. Time is limited. You will have multiple distractions. Every time you're distracted and you're trying to do something, you're trying to write a speech, you're trying to practice a speech, every time a cell phone goes off or you're distracted by something and you address it, it takes you another 20 minutes to get back to where you originally was. So you've got to starve your distractions and feed your focus. And that's how you're going to get where you're going. You're going to chart a good and righteous course. You're going to stay that course. And then all that is due you will come to you. You say that again. Chart a good and righteous course. Because everything that is good is not right for you. It could be a distraction. Then stay your course, and then all that is due you will come to you.
Absolutely.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Wow. Well, first of all, so much to unpack there, and certainly Dr. Frazier, every time we have an opportunity to hear you speak, I mean, thank you to Pam for kind of curating some of the nuggets that we're pulling out there. I can't wait to go through the chat, and I'm taking notes over here myself, but thank you so much for sharing with us. I think everyone on here, just listening at the comments and kind of looking at even on Facebook, the people that are chiming in, thank you for not only sharing your perspective of, you know, what it means to be a speaker and, you know, what that responsibility actually is on stage, but also, you know, getting us reconnected into the ethos of what that actually entails. So thank you so much. Yeah, Pam Perry, pure gold. I 100% agree, pure gold. Thank you. Cool. With that being said, we are going to, we're going to move on to our next speaker. But before we do, I do want to go back and just really quickly acknowledge, because we've been getting a lot of questions around, you know, how did you put this book together? And there are a lot of pieces, there are a lot of people that put a lot of pieces in, but, you know, I did want to jump back in. I wanted to give Dr. Frazier as much time as possible, but I did want to point out that this wouldn't have been possible without my friend and our partner over at 120 Designs, and that organization is led by Mr. Marshall Fox. And so this is good. Like, I'm holding the book in my hand, and if you want to talk about somebody who is committed to just insane amount of attention to detail, making sure that everything is perfect, that is absolutely Marshall Fox. So I just want to acknowledge them. They are, as you can see, our official design partners of Black Speakers Network. And so any branding assets, they work with some of the top speakers in the world. So if you're looking for book cover design, electronic press kit, if you're trying to get logo design, if you are working on your one sheet, or if your brand just needs a refresh, I highly recommend checking them out. And Marshall, I see you're on up there, up the road in the 120 Studios Command Center. Do you want to say hi really quick?
Hey guys, hey Brian, man, this has been an absolute honor to be involved in this project from beginning to end, and really just to see it all come together so quickly. And, you know, I have the book here and I've taken a peek at the chapters, and the content is just incredible. So I'm honored to be a part of it as a designer and as a contributing author, of course. But like I said in my post on social media, I'm more excited about the impact that this book is going to have. So just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity.
Nah, no problem at all, man. Thank you for helping bring it to life. So that's Marshall. You can connect with him. 120 Design Studios /BSN, and there's a discount in place right now for BSN Silver or BSN members in general. All right, so jumping into our first speaker, we're going to go into message, and I want you to go ahead, drop a 1 in the comments right now. If you're watching live on Facebook, drop a number 1 if you have a goal of giving a TED Talk or a TEDx talk. Drop a number 2 if you have already delivered a TEDx talk. I'm just kind of curious where people landed as we bring up Horace. Horace right now is a communications expert. He is a TEDx organizer. He's an author, obviously best-selling author like everyone else here, as well as a communications expert who specializes in helping speakers draw out their stories and develop the skills necessary to have an open conversation. And so he's worked with multiple executives, CEOs, television personalities to do this. But when it comes to delivering a TEDx talk, this is the person that you need to talk to. So in his book, you can see the title here. So you think you're ready for a TEDx talk. He drops some incredible nuggets of wisdom. And I know that there's some nuances there when you're thinking about giving a TEDx talk versus a traditional speech. he can break that down for you and so much more. So Forrest, thank you so much for the chapter, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you all in the chat. Thank you all that is watching all around the world right now. It's a complete honor and privilege to be a part of this project. But let me just give you a disclaimer before I continue. I have the flu right now, and I only have about 82 seconds of energy that I have saved up just for this moment. So I just want to use it as wisely as I can before I crash. So I'm going to be a little bit short, but I promise you I'll try to be as sweet as possible. But if I start coughing, don't call 911. I'm fine. I just need to just hack some stuff out. But hopefully I'll be able to speak long enough before that happens. All right. So let me continue. So yes, I am a TEDx organizer. I am a TEDx curator. I have done a lot of work with coaching aspiring TEDx speakers, and I do have a passion, a specific passion for seeing people of color on a TEDx stage. So it was my extreme pleasure to be able to write a chapter in a book that's sponsored by the Black Speakers Network. I think it's a huge deal that we have a book that is not only tailored for our needs as Black entrepreneurs and potential speakers, but it's nuggets of wisdom that has been honed by people of color who have experienced some of the obstacles that not everyone may be able to go through because of their difference in color. So I think that's a big significant part of this book. Even though it's nuggets that can be used for everyone, it's something that I am very passionate about because of my passion to see people of color use their voice on a stage, especially the TEDx stage. So in my chapter, I delve into just the nuances of how to give a talk that's worth being on a TEDx stage. Now, the TEDx moniker is ideas worth spreading. And a lot of times we may have ideas that we feel are great ideas, but for the TEDx stage, they may not feel the same way. So I try to give you nuggets of wisdom as to how to come up with those ideas, how to measure those ideas, and do some self-assessment as to why you want to give a TED Talk in the first place. We may have ideas that we feel are impactful, but we need to sort of measure what our purpose is, what our goal is, and how much of an impact we want to make, so that if we have great ideas, we would have a better way of either tailoring them to what the audience needs or tailoring them to something that could be even more impactful than what we imagined. So I'm happy to be a part of this project. I know I said I won't talk long, so I'm going to cut it short. But if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any goals to give a TED Talk, I'm your man. You can reach out to me in the chat, or order the book and just get those nuggets of wisdom so that you can empower yourself to deliver a TED Talk with an idea worth spreading.
Awesome. Horace, thank you so much, man. Yeah, Horace texted me. Well, we've been in communication pretty much the last couple of days, and I knew he had the flu, and he was just like, not sure if you're going to be able to speak or not, but thank you for pulling it in, man. I know that was painful, but your voice definitely deserves to be on this project, and your words certainly in the book, man. So we appreciate that, and feel better fast, okay?
Thank you so much.
No problem at all. All right, so we're going to jump to our next speaker, and we're moving into the so we didn't have anybody from mission, so we're focused on message, and now we're moving into the marketing section, and I'm really excited to turn it over to Keisha Reynolds, Keisha K, as I call her from her Facebook moniker. And just to give a quick introduction, she is she's best defined as kinetic. And if you don't know what that means, it means constantly in motion. And I can attest to that. Every time I talk to her, she's doing different things out there. She's even speaking, hosts her own events. She's a adjunct professor at Hampton University. So she is absolutely an active speaker. But in addition to that, her company, K&R Communications, she's the CEO, is a branding and digital marketing agency. He's also a platform partner here with Black Speakers Network. So if you go to any of our properties, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, well, I don't think you did Twitter, but yeah, don't go to Twitter, but Facebook and Instagram, she did all the graphics that are there. She's very good at what they do, and certainly is very qualified to speak on this topic, which is plan before you post, building a social media strategy for your speaking business, because that's what she helped us do. So Keisha, I'm gonna turn it over to you. I know you have a couple slides, so you can go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna drop my share and allow you to start sharing on your end.
Okay, sounds good. So it says that you have disabled screen sharing.
Yep, and then so you should be able to start sharing on your side. There should be like a little button that says.
Yeah, it's not allowing me. It's not, I don't think it's available, but that's okay. We can keep rolling. You can put your slide back up.
All right, I'll try to find yours in the meantime if I can.
Okay. All right, well, hello everyone. As it has been stated, I am so excited to be a part of this project. Waking up this morning, receiving an email from Brian saying that we were #1 on Amazon was just mind blowing. So as with everyone who is a part of this project, I too am very excited. So if you know me, you know one thing that I speak on that I am very passionate about is strategy. And understanding how your strategy meets your social media platform when it comes to you speaking as a public speaker. So one thing that I talked about inside of my chapter was that the very nature of social media is the premise of being social. And many times we miss out on that, trying to get all these followers or trying to increase our post engagement, things of that nature. But what you are missing is the essence of being social with the people who are a part of your brand online. So with this, when you create any type of content on social media, the power of social is that it can transcend geographical locations, age, gender, race, all of that. That's how powerful social media is. So your speech, your talk can do wonders for your business if you have the right strategy in place to make it go beyond that time of you being on the stage. So in my quick little slide that I have put together, I talked about the 5 phases of content building for speakers. So you can write this down really quickly. The first phase that I talked about was your pre-talk. So in your pre-talk, this is when you are building your connections online with people prior to you actually getting to your speech. Thank you, Brian. Prior to you actually stepping on stage. So what does this look like? This looks like your pre-marketing or your pre-engagement before you step on stage with anyone. So this can be you creating polls, creating any type of teasers, utilizing the event hashtag, but most importantly, creating your own hashtag for you as a speaker. So for me, anytime I go and speak, my hashtag is Keisha K Speaks. So not only am I going to encourage people to post on those hashtags for the event that I am a part of, but I also want to begin to curate content for myself. So when I make it to that next phase, which will be the end result, I'll have something to post. So the day of my talk, you want to be able to match people's excitement. If you're going to arrive to a city on time, or if it's in your own city, you want to talk about what are some things that you're excited about. Who are people that you are ready to share, people that you're ready to meet? What makes you extremely excited about this event as everyone else is excited about coming and participating? Something else that's really important too is if you decide that you want to schedule out any type of content during your speech, if you know what time you're going on stage, you can have content curate as you are speaking for people to engage with as well. And then when you get onto that stage, something I want to talk about is to tell them how to connect with you. So inside of your introduction, when you talk to people, you want to give them direction of how can they connect with you online, on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever that platform is, so that once they leave or once you step off of that stage, they are already in connection with you online. and then you essentially tell them what to post. And then the next thing is off stage of that event. You want to interact and get testimonials. This is something that I talk about inside of my chapter, the power of testimonials and understanding social proof for your speaking business online, right? Validating everything that it is that you say. So inside of my chapter, I talk about the power of testimonials, be it video, written, or through photos and taking photos, images with people. And then that last thing that I have on the screen is your post talk. So you want to continue to share your message. You want to say thank you to the event host, thank you to the people who have shared content with you, and then continue to be relevant in your engagement online. So not only is your message being presented to them on stage, but once you get off of stage, what is the message points that you will talk about once you have these people engaged as your followers, getting these people onto your email list and all these different things as it relates to your social. So Brian, if you go to the next slide, which says, all of this that I just talked about is helping you to develop your content bank, which will essentially enhance your strategy. But first, you must have strategy in your social media engagement in your speaking business. So that's what my whole entire chapter is about. Plan before you post, building a social media strategy for your speaking business. And that was just a little teaser into that. So as you begin to build your strategy, this chapter is going to help you tremendously in understanding how your content pre-event, during the event, post-event play a tremendous role in how you will be able to share your message online and continue to be relevant with your audience members. And that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Way to come through, Keisha, with the expedited knowledge drop. So I'm gonna just put the 5 points here one more time just so folks can see them again. And we definitely appreciate that. So we talked about the pre-talk, day of your talk, on stage, during your talk, off stage, and post-talk. I think, this is the big piece that you were able to help me with, Keisha, because I just thought, my social media strategy before I met you was just throwing proverbial mud against the wall to see what would stick. And some of it stuck because we got like 2,000 followers, but now we're at like 18,000. So much better strategy than what we were doing before. And I appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you, Brian.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to turn it to Dr. Frazier really quickly. I think he had an announcement. Is he still on? He might be muted. Okay. Pam, are you able to, did you want to share his announcement real quick? Pam, you're still muted. All right, cool. Well, we'll come back to that. So
okay.
Let me, cool. This is why this is my practice for like live TV. No. Oh, go ahead.
He's there. Okay, George, unmute. Unmute him, Brian. There you go. Dr. Frazier, say your thing. There you go. Unmute him.
No.
Unmute him. He's muted.
I know. I'm unmuting him now.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Hey,
yes.
Can you hear me now?
I'm a technological neophyte. Okay, I just wanted to make a special offer to everyone that was smart enough to join us today regarding the Power Networking Conference. And if you don't know anything about the Power Networking Conference, you can go to powernetworkingconference.com, www.powernetworkingconference.com. But this is our 18th year. And Forbes magazine called the Power Networking Conference one of the top 5 conferences in America, not to be missed, not one of the top 5 Black conferences, but one of the top 5 of all the conferences Pam has attended for many years. Okay. And we specialize in speakers. There are over 50 top Black speakers that present over 60 workshops and do power talks. Power talks are our version of TED Talks. So I was really interested to hear what our brother had to say about TED Talks. But that's our version of it. 15-minute long talk, good ideas that matter, good ideas or big ideas that matter. That's our theme. And matter is a dog whistle word for Black folk. But It is a place where if you want to see the best speak, you'll want to come and join us there. You also may want to apply for a slot. Not this year, that's all done. It's done a year in advance at Future Power Talk. We're in Houston this year, first year in Houston, June 26th through the 29th. And again, if you want to see the entire agenda, all 4 days, if you want powerful access to powerful people and learn the skills of speaking, there will be at least 4 or 5 workshops on all the various elements of powerful speaking and see some of the best. It's really a place that you want to be. As I like to say, when I teach networking, if you want to meet important people, you have to be where important people are, because they're not coming to you. You have to go to them. And then you learn at the feet of masters. So the conference is like no other conference. We have made a money-back guarantee for 18 years. And the guarantee is very simply this. If you immerse yourself, discipline yourself to spend 4 days with us, we start at 6 in the morning and we finish at midnight. There are no breaks. Pam will tell you, we do not break. If you want to break, you want to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, but we're not stopping. In fact, it's the only Black conference if you go to, and you go down to the bar on Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday night, you will not see any Black people in the bar of this big, beautiful Hilton hotel. They're all in classes. We have 8 concurrent workshops that start at 9 o'clock at night and go to midnight, and you can't get in them. That's how hungry our people are for this information. We only cover 2 subjects, business and money and all the skills necessary, because it's a training conference, all the skills necessary to do good business in whatever your subject matter expertise is, and how to manage and grow and build well. So this is the offer. If you go to the site, you will see that a full registration at the Power Networking Conference is $1,500. The question you have to ask yourself is, if you met someone that could change the or help change the trajectory of your life, would that be worth $1,500? The answer to that is held to the yes. Make no mistake about it. If you do not have an immersive, life-changing experience, spending 96 intense hours with us, tap me on the shoulder. I'm fully present at the site. At the conference, and I will write you a check for your money back. I've made that offer for 18 years and I've never written one check. So it's a place that you want to be. $1,500 is the price of admission. We also encourage our people to bring a young person with them, whether it's your child or someone you're mentoring or coaching. 17 to 25 is the age range. We call it college age. They don't have to be in college, but they need to be college age, 17 to 25. You will notice on the site that a student is $800, an adult is $1,500. What I'd like to do is make you an offer to allow you both to bring a student and to bring yourself, and to give you a deep discount on that. So instead of spending $2,300, $800 for a student, $1,500 for yourself, I'm going to reduce that to $599. That's $599. Okay, so that is what, $1,700 discount. The discount is good for as long as this broadcast. No, I'm sorry. Let's be a little bit more fair. It's good for 24 hours. Now, here's how you do it. You can't go to the website and get this offer. But you can go to the website and find all about the conference and all of the programming and all of the workshops, all of the speakers. You can do all of that on the powernetworkingconference.com. But you have to get this offer specifically through me. So if you're interested, just simply email me at geofraser45, geofraser45. That's F-R-A-S-E-R. geofraser45 at Gmail, geofraser45 at Gmail. Simply write on the email, I'm in. I don't know what that means. Add your cell number, and my office will call you and handle this one-on-one with you. So it's $599 reduced for $2,300. You get a chance to bring a college-age student and yourself for $599. It's about $1,700 off what the going rack rate is. So that is the offer, because you were smart enough to be on this Zoom call today. And so that's our offer to you. That's our reward for this. Good for 24 hours. Brian, thank you for allowing me to speak to it. Pam, thank you for doing all the queuing up. And again, GEO Fraser 45 at Gmail. Say I'm in. Put your cell number in there. Make sure your name is in there, of course. And we will handle it by phone. I've been Black for 74 years, so I know if you need a little time to post-date a credit card or a check, we'll work on that as well. So that's the offer. And again, this is an incredible meetup, an incredible way to share knowledge and information about, I think, one of the most important professions, especially for Black people, and that is the art and science of speaking. Understand that we learn differently. Black people learn differently than white people. We're oral, visual, tactile, kinesthetic, and auditory learners, right? We have an oral tradition. We're auditory. We like to listen. We're tactile. We like to touch, right? Kinesthetic. We like energy, right? So the speaking profession fits neatly into the way we learn. So stay the course. And Brian and Pam, thank you so much for allowing me to do this.
Appreciate it. No, thank you so much, Dr. Frazier. And I will say that I attended my first PNC conference last year. I was absolutely blown away. And not only that, I'm still following up on leads from the Connect. And I was only there like part of the day. You know, I was hanging out with Marshall Fox and YB trying to get lunch and figure out what we were going to do.
All right.
So good stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Frazier. I know we'll definitely be taking advantage of that. Cool. So moving on to the next piece, let's see who we got. So we are still in talking about marketing. And so I'm super excited to turn it over to Kanika Tolliver. Now, here's what you need to know. First of all, not only do Kanika, I mean, she's a self-proclaimed self-proclaimed tech geek, but I can tell you she's also one of the snappiest dressers. I definitely need to go shoe shopping with her. You see her rocking the red glasses right there, so you know I'm not making fairy tales up. She absolutely has a sense of style, but she's also a socialpreneur, self-professed tech geek and career technologist who's enamored by the latest and greatest gadgetry. I'm always learning something from her. Social media muses on the different, technologies that are coming out and learning about them as well. In addition to that, she's also a highly decorated government employee turned rebel entrepreneur and certified professional coach. So her topic is spread your voice to the world, unlocking the power of podcasting. Podcasting is amazing platform that we're really just starting to get into and learn about. And so, Kanika, thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brian. I just want to say thanks for having me on this virtual speaking conference. My book just actually came in the mail like 10 minutes ago by the mailman. So I was just browsing through it before I was able to just get online here. So
that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Just in time delivery, Amazon drones.
It was perfect delivery time. So for everyone, I just wanted to introduce myself again. My name is Kanika Tolliver. I am so excited today to talk about how to spread your voice through podcasting. In the last couple of years, podcasting has become extremely popular. So many people have their own podcast shows. So what I did to expand my coaching practice and my speaking platform and my business, I have utilized podcasting as a way to spread my voice. I have been on 20 podcast shows in the last 12 months. And today I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I mentioned in the chapter of how you can use podcasting to spread your voice. So number one, there are 4 steps here. So number one, the first step is to find the right podcast show that aligns with your brand. So what I do, and in this book, and Speak Up, I actually teach you how to actually find podcast shows that actually align with your brand. So I'm a woman in tech, I'm a career coach, I'm an entrepreneur. I specifically use social media and Google and even some of the iTunes store podcasting functionality to find the most highly rated podcast shows to be on. I save their information in a spreadsheet because I want to make sure that as I find these shows that I'm listening to these shows and I'm figuring out, do they align with my brand? And do I feel like I'm a good fit to add value to these podcast shows listeners? The second step is what I do is I figure out, how am I going to get on the show? Because, I'm just Kanika Tover. They don't really know who I am. We don't know each other. I don't always know the podcast show host. Number two, I have developed a way to pitch myself to the podcast show. I have developed a universal pitch letter that allows me to edify the podcast show and the podcast show host, but also to introduce how I can add value to the show. So I am basically edifying the host, I'm introducing myself, and I'm also introducing potential topics that I can talk about on that podcast show. A lot of times I get some no's, and a lot of times I get a lot of yeses. For the record, I do try to push out one podcast show interview per month. So I've had a lot of yeses. After I've pitched and the host had agreed that, my brand aligns with their brand, now it's time for me to be on the show. So the third step is, once I get on the show, I have to figure out, how am I going to be enthusiastic and authentic to the listeners? Because traditional speaking is that you're in front of an audience. But a lot of times on podcast shows, it's purely audio. So we have to learn how to maximize the opportunity of letting the listener be able to feel our energy by being enthusiastic. So I'm connecting with the listeners, sharing my stories with the listeners, but I am also being 100% authentic, because I want them to feel me as I'm speaking through their earbuds, or as they're listening through the computer. So that is the third step, is once you get on the show, is you have to sell yourself, and you have to make people feel like they are right there with you in person. Then the last step is, after you have recorded the show with the podcast show host, there's going to be some time where they're going to be asking for your information. So you want to be able to make sure you have a headshot. You want to be able to have a bio ready. You want to be able to have your website and social media information ready. Because once they turn on the green light to start to say that this show has been recorded and produced and edited, now the fourth step is marketing. So marketing yourself is all about maximizing everything that you already have in place. You have a website as a speaker, you have your social media profiles, you have maybe an email newsletter that you can use, and then you basically can also continue to share it with your friends and family so they can remarket it. So marketing is really about identifying those hashtags, identifying the right social media networks that you should be on that are going to be great for your message to get delivered to the listeners. And then once you've been marketing for a couple of weeks, then that's when you start getting paid speaking engagements, because people are feeling like, wow, like, this girl Kanika Tover is awesome, and she's been able to speak so well on a podcast show. I know she can kill the stage when she comes in person. So that is why marketing is very, very much important as you get your podcast shows delivered out there to the listeners. So that's what's really included in this chapter. And within this book, Speak Up, that I have put together, is the 4-step process for you to unlock your voice through podcasting. That's it.
It wouldn't let me unmute. I was like, we're just going to sit in this like comfortable silence and let all that information marinate for a minute. First of all, Kanika, thank you so much. That was outstanding. You know what? So many great things about what you just said, because I think a lot of times we try to go for the home runs. Like, everybody wants to speak on a stage in front of 1,000 people, and I get that. But, in my opinion, and everything you said, Kanika, and how you reading your chapter just kind of hit home for me. Like, podcasts really are that low-hanging fruit. Even though, to your point, it still takes a strategy. It still takes work to make sure you get booked on. To your point, you got to make sure that it's aligned, shouldn't just be speaking on any podcast that'll take you. But at the same time, you know, if you can get on, I mean, the fact that you on double-digit podcasts, I mean, if that aligns to your target audience, 9 times out of 10, you know, some good things are going to happen from that. So
definitely, and it adds value to saving time on travel. Like if you think about it, you can record a podcast show in your home, so you can record a podcast show on the road. So you are being able to speak to the masses without having to leave your house.
absolutely. So that's my goal. You know, I like my house. It's comfortable. I have snacks. So, hey, that's what it is. So thank you so much, Kanika. Appreciate that. Speak Up the book is packed with so much knowledge and information to, you know, really just kind of remove those barriers that we kind of put up for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, you know, anybody on this, listening to this, could be speaking by next week. And in reality, if you really wanted to, you could find a stage by next week. And a stage could be, you know, one of the easiest ways to do that is a podcast. So jumping to our next speaker, Danielle Tucker. And so we are still on marketing, and Danielle is joining us all the way from beautiful Ecuador. Her topic in the book is how your speaker website may be turning off your clients. And, you know, I'll tell you a little bit about Danielle. She's actually one of our newest platform partners, founder and creative director of Professional Speaking Websites, which is, as you probably guessed, a web design agency built to support professional speakers, authors, and coaches that speak. And she's been at this 4 years, guys. So she definitely knows what she's doing. She's helped professional speakers to stand out online by using her signature speaker website framework, which is designed to help speakers convert more clients, be recognized as leading experts in their niche, and book more speaking engagements. So drop a 1 if all of that sounds like what you are looking for in your speaking business. Danielle, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, yes, I'm so excited to be here and just to share what I'm most passionate about with all of you. So like you said, my name's Danielle. I'm the founder and creative director of Professional Speaker Websites, where I build websites for professional speakers and coaches that speak to help them book more clients and more speaking engagements. So in my chapter within Speak Up, I really went deep in sharing with you the biggest mistakes that I see speakers make with their website in order to help you overcome and use the solutions that I also provide so that these mistakes won't happen to you. So as speakers, we are constantly traveling, going and meeting new people, speaking and helping the people that we're called to serve. But we also need to keep in mind that with running a speaking business, there are a lot of different plates that we have to spin and a lot of different things that you find that you'll have to juggle. And so what I want to emphasize to you is that by using your website, this is your secret weapon. This is like your 24/7 salesperson to help you really be able to grow and expand and nurture your speaking business the way that you are wanting to. So today I have one of the biggest mistakes that I see speakers make with their website, and I want to share that with you. And also I want to share with you a strategy so that you can actually use this to get you on the right path to making sure that your website is going to be successful for you. So, okay, what is this one big mistake that I see happen so many times? And this mistake is not having a clear goal to drive your website. So you're probably wondering, okay, like why is this so important? And the reason why this is so important is because if you don't have a clear goal to drive the momentum of your website, when your viewer comes on, they will be absolutely clueless and will not know what it is that they need to do to actually be engaged with you, to book you, and to learn how to work with you. So one of the things I'm most passionate about when doing websites for speakers is not just having a website that looks beautiful and is just absolutely gorgeous, but one of my favorite things is being able to implement the strategy that's actually going to help you get the results that you're looking for, whether that's booking more clients or booking more speaking engagements. Whatever your end goal is, I love placing the strategy behind it to make it actually work for you. So when you don't have a clear goal in place, you cannot effectively craft a strategy that is going to work with you. And some of the things you may experience when you don't have a clear goal are you cannot create the effective brand awareness and brand credibility that is going to help you stand out and be recognized as the #1 expert that your audience is looking for. So that's just one way. You really want to be obviously remembered for a specific thing. When someone sees you speaking, when they connect with you, it may not be time to work with you in that moment, but when it is time, you want to be the first person that they think of to work with you. And so that comes with building brand awareness and building that credibility. But if you don't have a clear goal backing your website, it can cause a lot of confusion when your viewers do come and they don't necessarily know, okay, well, how can I work with you? So that's one area that not having a clear goal can really help, or can really cause some tension for you. Another way that can really cause some issues for you if you don't have a clear goal is it doesn't build the know, like, and trust factor for your audience. So your biggest goal is you want to have someone to say yes to you. You want them to say, yes, I'm excited to work with you. I'm excited to book you. Let's do this. But if you don't have a clear goal driving your website, it becomes very difficult for someone to make a decision on how they would like to work with you and if they would like to work with you, because it doesn't build that know, like, and trust factor for you and for your business. So now that I've outlined this one main mistake that I see, I also want to share with you 3 questions that you can ask yourself to begin to put you on the path to this solution that you're looking for. And the main solution that we want to create is we want to make sure that we can create a clear path for your viewer to come to your website and know exactly what action they need to take. So you are essentially guiding them from point A to point B to point C to actually taking the end action that is going to help to grow your business and get you the growth that you are looking to accomplish. So I'm going to post in the chat these 3 important questions that you should ask yourself, because this is what's going to help you create this strategy, okay? And let's see. So the first question that you need to ask yourself is, what is the purpose of my website? If you are asking yourself, okay, like, what's the purpose? And the only answer that you can come up with right now is, oh, well, I just thought I was supposed to have one. It's probably not the best answer for why you have a website, okay? So this is the first question that you should be asking yourself, like, what is the purpose of your website? And once you can clarify that, that's going to be a really important first step to help you to get on track for strategically having a website that's going to get you the results that you're looking for. Okay. So my second question that I want you to ask yourself is, what is the main goal that you want to accomplish with your website? Just post it in the chat. So ask yourself, okay, what is the main goal? The reason why asking this question is so important is because in order to create a strategy that's actually going to work for you, you need to know where the end, like where the finish line is. You need to know, okay, like what is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And then from there, you can work backwards and actually create a strategy that's going to help you get the results that you're looking for. So question number 2, what main goal do you want to accomplish with your website? And the final question that I want you to ask yourself is question number 3, what main action do you want your viewers to take when they are on your website? So again, this question is so important because when someone comes on your website, they should not be confused on what the next step is that they should take when they are engaging on your site. They shouldn't have to feel like there's so much going on, or they don't really have a clear understanding of how it is that they should work with you or what step you want them to take. But if you can clarify exactly what action you are wanting them to take, then this is going to help you become one step closer to having a website that is going to be very successful for you. So that's the solution to the biggest mistake that I see speakers making with their website. It's not having a clear goal. But if you can go ahead and answer those questions and clarify those things for yourself, that's going to put you on a path to make sure that you are getting the results that you're looking for. So that was only one of the topics that I shared within the book, but go ahead and make sure that you purchase the book. I shared even more insight into how you can utilize these strategies to really increase your conversions and really book more engagements and get the results that you're looking for with your speaker website. So that's it.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you so much, Danielle. And so go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat box right now. If you already have a speaker website, drop a 2 if you feel like your speaker website, if you have one, but you feel like you may need a little bit of refresh, or, really wasn't created with some of those design elements in mind. And maybe drop a 3 if you don't have one and you just need one. And to Danielle's point, is not because you think you need one, it's because, you need a strategy. So go ahead and put that in really quick. Linda says 3. Yeah, I mean, it's and thanks for putting the questions in there, Danielle. 3, Cassandra needs 1. So lots of folks. I think that's kind of an advantage, because now at least you can start from the beginning with some of these design principles in mind. So good stuff. I did want to remind folks that you can continue to drop, and I think Tamara's been doing a great job. You can drop your comments into the Q&A box as you go. And so all of our speakers will be keeping an eye on that. If you have specific questions about something, you could do it. And so I know some folks have been ordering as we've been going forth. I see like emails coming through. So if you've ordered your copy of Speak Up the book since you've been on the chat, or if you're watching live on Facebook, go ahead and I'm running out of numbers. Go ahead and drop a 10, because maybe we're going to 10 extra income. Drop a 10 in the chat if you've already ordered your copy of Speak Up. If you are online, or if you have done so on Facebook. I got like 3 computers over here, so I'm watching everything. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Looking forward. So we're going to jump right into the next section. And this is going to wrap up our section on marketing before we get into monetize. And that is with Mr. Robert YB Youngblood. And so I'm gonna turn it over to him in a moment. If you haven't met Robert, you must not be on LinkedIn, because he is all over it. Founder and Chief Connecting Officer at YB Connects, right out of Richmond, Virginia. And he is known as the LinkedIn locksmith. And there's a very good reason for that. YB actually led our team as we were getting ready for this book launch, which is very important. Anytime you have a team, you want to make sure that people are bringing different skills to the table. And that's certainly what you'll see represented in this book when you get it. But, YB actually helped us elevate our own LinkedIn presence. I really wasn't using it that much. And, just in the last 48 hours with some of the strategies that he's implemented, I've added over 50 new connections. And also I received, just from one specific strategy, direct messages from, we're at like almost 300 people now. So certainly he knows what he's doing. He's worked, his skills and his strategies work. But YB is going to be talking to you today, but also the author in the book of the chapter, How to Leverage LinkedIn to Grow Your Network and Your Net Worth as a Speaker. So YB, thank you for joining. I'll turn it over to you.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Brian, can you hear me?
I can. You're good.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me start out, because as a speaker, one of the most important things you got to do is to call out the elephant in the room, right? So one of my coaches said you should never, ever, ever do a video, Facebook Live, or anything in your car. So I'm going to call that out right now, because I'm in my car, but my wife and I are traveling up to New York, New Rochelle, New York, for a wedding. And so I could not miss the opportunity to share with you all regarding LinkedIn. So I did whatever I had to do, even break my coach's rule of doing a video in the car. So I'll get that out of the way first. But I'm Rob YB Youngblood, native of the Bronx, New York. I grew up in a single parent home. My dad was murdered when I was 2. And I share that story every time that I speak, just to remind myself that I'm no big deal. I'm no big deal. The fact that we're on this book, I'm no big deal. But I've been trained and taught how to share information and to give information and to present. And my area of expertise is networking. I'm so excited that Dr. George Fraser was on this call, because he is one of my mentors. He is the one that I'm looking to grab the torch from and take it to the next level. Why? Because as a people, we have struggled when it comes to networking. Money is passed on not just from bank to bank, but it comes from heart to heart, from mind to mind, from lip to lip, in terms of the wisdom that comes through networking. And so the reason why I wrote in this book about LinkedIn is because LinkedIn has over 600 million professionals all around the world, but it's the most underutilized tool on the planet. See, when I started speaking professionally, the first thing I did was I updated my LinkedIn profile. And the reason why I did that was because I recognized the importance of being visible. So if you're writing something down, I want you to write down these words that I'm going to give you. I'm going to emphasize them one at a time. Visibility is critical to you being found. I remember my best friend is on this call, Marshall Fox. Marshall Fox reached out to me years ago and he said, YB, I'm about to make a transition. I want to follow my dream of being a graphic designer. He said, but I want to be a blessing to you. So Marshall took his skills and he matched it with my need. He redid my logo. And as a result of that, I was able to take the work that he did and plaster it over my LinkedIn network to the tune of him being able to attract 40 new clients in 90 days. Now, why am I telling you this because you think networking is all about passing out business cards to try to get somebody on the phone so you can sell them on why you should speak. No, networking is about helping someone else get to the point where they need to be. So on LinkedIn and in that book, I talk about the principles that are necessary for your profile to be a magnet so that you can attract the people that you can help, so that eventually by helping enough people get what they want, you'll be able to get what you want. And that is speaking opportunities. That is opportunities to come up in podcasts or even to move your book. So I teach my clients how to leverage LinkedIn as a means of increasing your visibility, your credibility, your clarity, and your confidence. Why? Because if no one knows you exist, how are they going to hire you to speak? Now, the best way to get a new speaking opportunity is for someone to call you up and say, I was told about you, or I saw you on LinkedIn. Now, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, but I'm preferential to LinkedIn. Why? Because I literally attracted several speaking opportunities because people saw the value of what I was putting on LinkedIn, and it was other people's comments, it was other people's recommendations that sold them on the work that I'm doing. So I'm going to encourage you as a new speaker, if you're not on LinkedIn, you need to be on LinkedIn. That's number one. Number two, if you're on LinkedIn, but your profile is not optimized, you need to optimize your profile. And in the book, I talk to you about how to do that. Now, if your profile is optimized and you're using it, now you need to begin to impact and connect with the right people. Brian shared with you that as a result of one strategy, he was able to reconnect with over 200, 300 people. What is the value of that? Where he just did one action and 300 people was able to connect with him. No other platform on the planet could do that, and I'm biased. So the goal for you as a brand new speaker is you want to be visible, you want to be credible, you want to be clear in terms of your message, but you also want to be confident. And being confident when it comes to increasing your net worth is really all about enhancing your network. And to enhance your network, you have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to build the right relationships. And LinkedIn will put you in a position to do that. So definitely grab the book, learn those 7 principles that I give. And if you need some additional assistance, I'm here to help you. I'm the LinkedIn locksmith. I'm here to be a resource for you. Be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, keep the faith and get the book. Thanks, Brian.
Hey, thank you, YB, and safe travels, man. I had no idea that you were gunning up 95, pulling over at rest stops, doing webinars, man. That is very impressive. And thank you for not only the contribution of your thought leadership on this project, but also your just selflessness and everything that you do, man. So be safe, and thank you again. Cool. So that wraps up our section on marketing, and we are going to roll right into monetize. So here's what I want you to do. Drop a 1 in the comments. If you're on Facebook Live, drop a 1 there. If you love, well, let me do this. If you've experienced waking up in the morning and seeing payment received, Stripe payment notification, PayPal, you've received money. Like if you've experienced any of that, drop a 1 in the comments right now. If you haven't experienced that, but you want to experience it starting next week, drop a 2 in the comments, because we are about to get into monetization. And this is, like I said earlier, where the rubber meets the road. I'm excited to turn you over to April Beverly. I don't know where I found April, but you know, she is like, if I could just go to Atlanta and sit at her living room table and just like learn from her, I would do that, because she is absolutely out here slinging words in these internet streets, as I've heard her say. She is known for telling it like it is, writing style, and it's something I personally resonates with me, because you know, copy is the lifeblood. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone here, we're all in information marketing, right? We're taking content out of our head and trying to transform people's lives. And so this idea of copywriting again, and I went to school for business, and it's so funny that we learn all these different skills, but there was no class on copywriting, there's no anything. So one of my favorite subjects now, I am deep dived into everything that she puts out. She has an incredible membership program. Well, I hope she talks about it a little bit, but she has the distinction of helping her clients generate over $20 million in revenue for B2B, solo entrepreneurs, small business owners, and some of the country's top brands. In addition to that, she brings over 18 years of experience in copywriting, marketing, communication, and proposal writing to her role as CEO of BAAB Writing and Marketing Services. So April, I'm gonna turn it over to you. She is the author of this book, and the title, New Payment Received, How to Create Sizzling Sales Copy for Your Solution. So April, thank you so much, and I'll turn it over to you. April, you're muted. Let me, oh yeah, I can unmute you on my end, I think, maybe.
Can you guys hear me now?
There you go. Yep.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you. I have a quick story for you guys. So when Brian reached out to me about the book titled Speak Up, this is kind of funny because I'm one of those people who hated speaking like completely. When I was growing up, I used to stutter really bad to the point where I was passing notes across the dinner table like, yo, can you pass me the pepper? It was really terrible. And I just remember like in third grade having this incredible essay that my teacher wanted me to read out loud. And I was like, because I was so afraid of being teased. I was so afraid what people would think about me because I couldn't get my words out as fast as they were moving through my brain. And when I started my business, I asked myself this one question. So for those of you who are on the fence, should I speak? Should I get out there and tell my story? Should I share my messages? I don't want to, I'm scared, and this, that, and the third. I want you to ask yourself this one question. How bad do I want it? How bad do I want success? But not only how bad do I want success, I want you to ask yourself this second question, because this changes the game for everything. How bad do I want success for the people around me? Because that's what speaking, that's what sharing my message has been able to do for me. Yes, I can bang out on the keyboard and sling sentences all day long. But when I share my message with others, when I pour into other people and tell other people what I know, that changes the game, not just for me, but for everybody around me. All right. So I wanted to get that message out. I think it's important for those of you to know that you need to overcome this fear, not just for yourself, but for your community, for your family, and for everyone else who is watching you. Okay. Now, inside this book, I talked about getting that PayPal popping, okay? I talked about getting that new payment alert. And I gave you guys 5 mighty tips, which you really got to go get this book to catch all of those tips. I will share one of those tips with you today. I'm going to share 2 things. I'm going to give you guys a definition of copywriting, because I realize not everybody knows what that is. And I'm going to give you guys one mighty tip from the book about getting your PayPal popping. And then for the rest of that, you're going to have to go grab your copy, okay? So the very first thing we're going to talk about is definition of copywriting. The copywriting is the art of writing in a way that propels people to take action. That's download your free ebook. That is attend your webinar. That's smack that buy button, okay? Now, I was speaking probably like a few years ago in Northeast Ohio. I was a panelist for a business event. And I had this line of people who were waiting to speak to me after the fact. And it was one of my first speaking engagements. I was like, yay, people actually want to talk to me, right? So I had this woman come up to me and she was so excited. She was like, I have this book and I want to talk to you about getting it protected. And I said, oh man, I do copywriting, the art of writing, COPY, WRITING. You're talking about you need legal representation for a copyright. All right. And so how I told her how to remember the difference is the same way I'm going to tell you guys. You got the wrong P. Okay. COPYRIGHT is all about protecting your words. Okay. When you hire a copywriter, you're trying to get the other P, payments. So just wanted you guys to know the difference on that. The second thing I'm going to share with you guys is one of the tips that I shared inside the book, and that is about selling the sizzle and the steak. Now I know so many marketing gurus like sell the sizzle, not the steak. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. And I have a different way of looking at this, okay? So it's been about 15 years since I've had beef, but I still remember that it was good with some A1 sauce, okay? So I want you guys to just, even if you don't eat beef, just walk with me for about 30 seconds. And imagine yourself sitting in a restaurant and you have ordered the juiciest, most expensive filet mignon or whatever you do on the menu, okay? And so you can almost taste it, but then the waiter comes out with a platter and it has a recorder on it instead of your steak, okay? And so he sits the recorder down in front of you and he tells you to press play. And you're like, dude, I need my steak. Anyway, he tells you to press play and you press play. And what's on the recorder is, oh, someone saying, oh, it's mouth watering. Oh, it's so juicy. Oh, it tastes so great. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. I need something to put some A1 sauce on, okay? That's what it's like when these marketers are out here teaching people to sell the sizzle, not the steak. Because yes, the sizzle matters. The sizzle is the benefits of what you're selling, but you also need the steak, okay? Because just selling me all the greatness about the steak without putting the steak in front of me so I get some A1 sauce on it, that's not gonna work, okay? So when you are on that stage, when you are on social media, when you are in front of your audience, you can't just talk about the benefits, the after effects of your incredible programs, of your incredible services and offerings. You have to tell people the steps that they're going to be able to walk through or overcome in order to get to that benefit, that sizzle place, that promised land. You can't just go straight to the and I know that's what these marketers are out here teaching, right? But people need to know what they're getting. People need to know what they're investing in. People need to know how much time and how many hours and all that good stuff it's going to take to get to the other side. So my message for you today is you need to sell the sizzle and the steak, because we all need something to put that A1 sauce on, okay? So that's my message for today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you have not yet gone and got this book, please make sure you do. It is jam-packed. It is jam-packed with incredible information. I know my copy should be coming soon. I always send my son to the mailbox because that is his special job. So hopefully it arrives today. But again, I want to thank Brian. I want to thank all the other co-authors. This is the third best-selling book that I have had my name a part of. So I'm overly excited. I've written 2 best-selling books on my own. As Brian mentioned, I also have a Copy Closet membership where I teach people how to write your own words that make you money. Because oftentimes we have been taught, right, that we have to sound like someone else, or the way that we talk on a natural everyday basis is not good enough to make us money. And I'm here to tell you today that it is. You just need to make sure that you understand how to deliver the words. You don't need to switch up your voice. You just need to make sure you understand how to deliver those words to your audience. And that's what I can help you do. So thank y'all today. I appreciate y'all for being here, and I'm out.
April, she's back. Thank you so much. Like, first of all, and what an incredible storyteller. I feel like you have cemented yourself in the public speaking space if you were holding back before. So, and I've been on a couple of your webinars where I'm just like, man, this is good stuff. I'm actually sitting here hungry now. I have to go find some steak from somewhere because I am absolutely, I'm just have to chew on your words for the time being. But immediately after this, I'm going to the Longhorn or something. So great job. Really, really excited. I was flipping through your chapter last night and just kind of thinking about how critical this is. I'm going to strongly encourage everybody to become a member of the Copy Closet because it is just transformed. I mean, the emails I sent out before, and I mean, we're just kind of like 30 days in, but my open rates are better. Let's put it like that. And I can go through the numbers, but it's amazing, the engagement and what we're able to do. So thank you, April, for putting that out into the world, making it available to BSN, and looking forward to hearing some great success stories from that. All right, so we're still talking about monetization, monetize your business. And earlier we were talking about you don't have to wait until you get, if you were frustrated, you're one of those people that are just thinking about where your next speaking engagement is going to come from. Nobody's calling me back. I don't really understand what to do next. Well, guess what? You have the ability. Earlier, we said you have the ability to get booked by next week. And I 100% guarantee you have that ability when we're talking about podcasting with Kanika. But now we're jumping into another area of monetization, which is hosting your own events. Now, the person I'm about to introduce you to is every time that I've been to an event where she has either organized or been on the team that's organizing it, it has been world class, like literally some of the best events I've ever been to. And so Mathina James is going to talk to you for a little bit. She is described as an energetic, passionate, and inspirational about her audiences. She has been a professional speaker for over 14 years. And check this out. She has spent nearly 50,000 hours speaking. Now, just the fact that I can announce that should be a tip to start tracking your speaking engagements and how long you speak in, because that's impressive. She's honored speaking requests at numerous organizations across the country. She's appeared in Ebony magazine, the Daily Record, Afro-American newspapers, and she too joins prior to this, as April mentioned, was already an Amazon best-selling author, as well as co-founder of Heal a Woman, Heal a Nation. So I'm excited to turn it over to you, Mathina. She wrote the title of she wrote the chapter in our book, titled Waiting to Get Booked, Unlock the Power of Hosting Live Events. And Mathina, can't wait to hear what you got to say.
Thank you, Brian. Welcome to everyone. I know I've been in the chat saying welcome to you, and also saying for you to just be in there, talk, chat, really get your message out. And as speakers and individuals who are striving to be speakers or elevate your speaking platform, you should use every opportunity for your voice to be heard. So I definitely expect to see all of these chat boxes lit up on Facebook, here on the webinar. I want to see that happening. So thank you again, Brian. I'm excited to be here. I was really thinking about what is it I can add to this chapter in addition to what I've given in the book. What can I share with you? I'm all about really not only smelling the brownies, but eating them too. And if you don't eat brownies, eat your fruit. So really, I wanted to add some additional aspects to the conversation. So the first question I have for you is, I want you, if you are hosting your own live events, I want you to go ahead and we're going to do a new one. Okay, put a 1 in the chat box if you're already hosting your own live events. What do we mean by live? In person, where we get to meet face to face. And if you are already hosting your own live events, put that 1 in the chat box. If not, and if you're interested and you're saying, Mathina, I've had this idea in my mind, and I really do want to host my own live events, put a 2 in the chat box. I want to go ahead and see. So I've got some 1s already lighting up the chat box. This is awesome and amazing. And then I got a 0. What that 0 mean, Takesha? What does that mean? I want you to tell me what that's about. And I've got some 2s. So in the book, it gives you enough strategy that if you're already hosting or you're new to hosting, that you get a chance to really figure out where to start. I talk about some of my top 5 secrets to hosting and monetizing and creating powerful and memorable live events, in addition to creating your spending and profit plan. So get the book if you haven't already, and don't just get one for you. Get one for your friends as well. Get one for your business besties. Get one for your network, and share the message so that we can all elevate and monetize our speaking platforms and our businesses in general. Oh, events taking you to business and new heights. I love that. So the thing I wanted to tell you all about
In addition to that, I reflect on when I started hosting events. I've been hosting my own events for well over 15 years. And when I started, I was building platforms for people just like you. I was creating stages, small one, and then I blew those stages up to hundreds of people just for people like you. Someone with a passion, a purpose, and a desire to share their message in a way that transforms the world, even if you start one person at a time. And it wasn't until I decided, you know what? I have something I want to share. So let me stand on this stage and let me speak out to my audience. And I'm looking at, I think it was about 160 women in this room. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to them. And I watch people get closer and closer and closer to the stage, as if they were getting up and drifting closer to me. And all they were really doing was leaning in. I walked down 3 flights of stairs off the stage that day. And as I walked away from the stage, and as they got ready to get up and go to their lunch, the first person who came to me was a member of my team. And she said, Mathina, I want more of that. That is when I realized that standing on my own stages and creating a platform where my brothers and my sisters in their areas of expertise could amplify that messaging was truly impactful and life-changing. And ever since then, our live events began to explode over the last 6 to 7 years, where we got more people, more money, and our message went even further than it ever did before. And what shifted not only was me and my team standing on the stage as experts, but we learned how to systemize our live event. And that's where I want to spend some time with you all today. Is that okay? And I want you to go ahead and post in the chat box any questions you have. Don't forget to put them in the Q&A, and we're going to come back. And after I'm done, I'm going to pop in there and answer your questions. Okay. So one of the things I want you to do when you think about systemizing your live event, okay, and if you do an event that you want to repeat every year, go ahead and put repeat in the chat box so I see that. If you're repeating an event every single year, post that in the chat box, because this is golden if you're doing that event more than once. Okay. This is absolute gold. The first thing you want to look at is your ABC. And I want you to switch it and go BCA. Everything we talk about, when you talk about systemizing, thank you all, I see you posting. Systemizing your event is the BCA, before, congruent, and after. What are you doing before the event starts? You've kind of heard some of this messaging earlier. Congruently, what are you doing during your event? And then what do you have to do after the event in order to systemize it? Some areas that you'll look at in terms of systemizing. You'll, of course, look at your marketing. How can you systemize your marketing? That's the tools you use as well as the message you're sending. How do you systemize your timeline? I wish I'd have left it up here, but on my dry erase board, I had a timeline already set up for an event I'm hosting in September of this year, because I have very specific things I need to knock out in my timeline in order to make it a true success. Other things you're going to think about systemizing. What are you printing? Your event notification strategy. There's a difference, and a nugget from the book. There's a difference when people pay a fee versus having it for free. If you're hosting a free event, you have to think about your attrition rate. What do I mean by that? How many people just ain't gonna show up? That is your attrition rate. How many people are just not going to show up because it was free? And it doesn't mean it didn't add value, but when something's free, we think, okay, I can go do something else, versus when we pay a fee for it. So, and then of course you have your sales strategy. I'm going to give you a couple of key nuggets on your team. You want to systemize your team. As I bring this conversation to a close, and I'm not going to keep us long, okay? Here are a few things I want you to think about. And you're saying to yourself, Mathina, listen. This is too much, too good, and too fast. Play it back, okay? Grab the nuggets as you're posting them in the chat box. This is why I mentioned that earlier. So when you think about your team, you want to systemize for your live event, your team. That is your team training. And remember what I say, BCA. What is your team doing prior? What are they doing congruently? And what do they do after the event to assist in your event success? Because your message is powerful, and monetizing that message allows you to keep sharing your message. And listen to this, what doesn't get measured doesn't get repeated. So if you're not measuring it, you're not going to be repeating it. That's why I say you want to systemize it. With your event team, are you training them on the logistics? Are you cleaning up the fact that they have your culture and fingerprint in everything, including how they show up in the room? So that's even including the dress code, that you share with them prior to the event, so that we're at the event, they've got it clean and your fingerprint is right there? Are you taking a look at how you've detailed the schedule and trained them on the schedule? Because nobody knows that they're not, maybe if they're volunteer, that they're not a paid staff member. All the same thing, because they're showing up as you. Even if it's only 60 or 70% of you, that's better than 0 of you. The other thing I'm going to mention is that you want to share your guiding principles with your team. So again, they have the opportunity to wrap everyone that they meet at your live event into what the process and the strategy is. If you own your training, your sales team on the financial goals or the financial outcome, you're cutting your legs out from under you. Everybody on your team needs the key logistical training on the overall outcome. Setting those intentions beforehand allows us to really maximize our live events. And as I get to bring Brian back, I'm also going to close on this. Your integrity of the sale, service, and yourself is what's really going to help your live event be repeated and have people want to come back to spend time with you. Because if they're willing to come back to spend time with you, then you know you've done something amazing. So I love the opportunity to be a part of this project. If you want to find me, I'll tell you in the book, but I'm at Mathina on all forms of social media, including my website. But I love having an opportunity to share with you, ask questions, and answer those questions for you. So thank you again, Brian, and my other co-authors. Congratulations, everyone. Y'all did that.
Wow, good stuff, good stuff. This is absolutely exciting. Like the thing I love about the live event process and the way Mathana breaks it down, and she truly is. I mean, I don't know how she was able to communicate that much in that short period of time, but truly is. There's an art and a science behind that. And I think for anybody that's thinking about hosting live events, or if you're already doing it and is trying to take it to the next level, this chapter, you're going to get a lot of great value out of that. So thank you so much, Mathina. And you reminded me about some stuff, and I need to call you on something, but I'll tell you about that later. This is good stuff. So we got 3 speakers left. As we wrap up the monetization section, we're going to jump on over to our next speaker, and that's going to be Dakisha Williams. Now, Dakisha, I'm super excited because one thing I know is she's in this topic. I mean, as we're talking about, it's kind of interesting. We're going from hosting live events, and now, of course, we're going to be talking about how to host your virtual events. But when it comes to, multitasking, just getting things done, I mean, they say if you want something, and think about this even at your companies too, I see this all the time. Like, if you want to get something done, like, don't give it to a person that's sitting around, don't have anything to do. Give it to somebody that's busy. Give it to somebody that has a lot going on. Give it to a single mom, like, because that's who Dakisha Williams is. And she absolutely, I see her at soccer games, like multitasking, getting stuff back to us. And she's all about it. And so when we're talking about this topic of hosting webinars, now we get to the point of, okay, how can we, because you can be a speaker, not when you hear the word speaker, something probably comes into your mind, but that definition of what it is to be a speaker is going to be different for everybody. Not everybody wants to travel around the country 120 times a year and be on a stage. And there's points in between that you could compromise. So she's a single mom. Oftentimes she told us in her bio that, when she was thinking about how to develop these systems and tools to be able to effectively monetize virtually, that, it was a challenge to be going across the country and, trying to wrestle with the feeling of feeling guilty about, leaving her kids at home, and also, the responsibility of trying to find somebody to be there with them. And, like I said earlier, she likes being home. I love being home. Like, there is something great about that opportunity. And that's something that you don't necessarily have to give up just because you're deciding to become a speaker. And so as we transition to Dakisha, I want you to know that you're hearing somebody that, left corporate America back in 2011. So she's been at this full time for a number of years. And we're talking about jumping on, why jump on a plane? She's a person that was jumping on planes, trains, and everything else across the country, and decided to give it all up because she found a system and software and a process for developing revenue to replace that. So, Dakisha, thank you so much. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brian. I need to have you introduce me all of the time. Like you just really laid it out. But yeah, so I'm just the chick that lost the same job twice, building a business from the comfort of my own home. And so just like Brian said, August 24th, 2011, I turned in my pink slip because at that time I was a district manager. And yes, Hartsfield International Airport was like my second address. I promise y'all, I feel like I was getting mail at the airport. And so it was that time. It was a very important, a crucial time in my children's life. I believe at that time, my daughter was going into middle school and my son was actually starting my daughter was going into the 6th grade and my son was starting kindergarten at that time. And so I really wanted to be present and there for them. And as Brian was saying, like they're both, it's so funny because they're both athletic. My son plays football, basketball, and my daughter's a gymnast, but both of them are down now, like with injuries, but that's like a whole nother subject. Okay. But yeah, so the notifications of payment received, I get them on the sideline. We call them hashtag sideline money. So you can type that in the chat box. We call that hashtag sideline money. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today about using webinars in your business. So I'd love to know if you are an aspiring speaker, and this is what, yes, hashtag sideline money. If you are an aspiring speaker and you're just kind of starting out, if you could do me a favor and type a 1. If you have been speaking on multiple stages, webinars can be great for you as well. And so I want you to type 2 in the comment box below. But so what I did was I studied for about 5 years and I started to teach people how to make money from using webinars. And so and I love the title, Why Jump on a Plane? Because you can have a digital event from the comfort of your home and you can still monetize. Like I absolutely love that word, monetize this particular platform. And so in the chapter, I tell you a little bit about the story but I also tell you some of the statistics behind using webinars in your business. So really quickly, great, Linda, I see some ones out there. And so listen, one of the things that I tell aspiring speakers is don't wait for someone to ask you to get on their stage. Don't wait for somebody to ask, and don't, continue to submit your request for speaking opportunities. But in the meantime, build your own platform. And that's what I had to do because I got to the point where I was tired of traveling for 7.5 years. And so I always say that I've been able to see both of my children get on the bus 1,286 days. You can type that in the comment. 1,000, yes, Jaden, 286 days. So one of my kids are actually looking at me. So yeah, so being able to work from the comfort of my home, being able to use digital events have allowed me to do that. But I've built a platform, I built a list, and we've built a very, very successful business. And we've been showing people how to do this from the comfort of their own home. So it's 3 things that I want to share with you today, but you have to get the book so that you can get the insider secrets on what you need to actually start using webinars in your business. But here's the thing with webinars, okay? So with webinars, it helps you actually build your list. And here is why, right? So yeah, so grab your copy today at speakupthebook.com, speakupthebook.com. And so in regards to using webinars in your business, number one, it helps you to build your list because they have to enter their first name, their last name, their email address, and I always get the phone number. I always get the phone number because Dakisha's going to follow up. What's your follow-up process, right? And so second, you're speaking to a very specific audience. So they are actually granting you permission when they log into or opt into your webinar registration page. They're granting you permission and they're actually raising their hand to say, you know what? I'm interested in what Lena has to offer. I'm interested in what Brian has to offer. I'm interested in what April has to offer. And so I'm going to spend about 30 to 45 minutes, sometime even 90 minutes on a webinar, listening to the relevant information that they have to share about hosting events, live events, digital events, copywriting, because copy is important, right? So when you speak to a specific audience, here's the statistics that I want you to write down. 40% of the people that's going to show up on your webinar will become prospective clients. I'll say that again. 40% of the people that actually show up to your webinar will become prospective clients. So just imagine being in a space of 100 people, and 40% will become prospective clients. Wow, right? You don't have to take the guesswork out of that. And then what if you have a signature or core program? It could be anywhere from $497 to $997. When they come into my program, I don't let them have anything less than $497. I'm just telling you. Maybe not maybe $597. But listen, you're talking about hosting a consistent, maybe monthly, maybe weekly webinar. We don't sell anything less than $497, $597, right? And so if 40% of the people may potentially buy your $997 product, as April would say, smack the buy button from the webinar. Can you say payment of notification received from my Apple Watch? This is why I love the Apple Watch. Actually, sometimes, y'all, I'm just gonna be transparent. I take pictures, receipts, because I'm making money from the hashtag the sideline, right? So that's number 2. So 40% of the people that show up will become prospective clients. So that means that you've got to get on the phone and follow up with them if they don't hit that buy button. And then number 3, not only does it help you allow to build a tribe, but it creates your own platform. And I'll actually share with you what's on my screen. It says, be so good that they can't ignore you. So when you are making noise and when you are rising above the noise that's online, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, what have you, they're absolutely going to pay attention to you, and you're going to be invited now to those platforms, but you've got to make your own noise. You have to build your own tribe. So there's 3 tools that I share, and I'll give you just a sneak peek, right? Number 1, guys, you have to have an email marketing system, because that's where you're going to build your list. Email is not dead. So make sure that you build your own list. Like yesterday, ClickFunnels went down. I can't rely on a third-party software, so you have to have some backup. We use something like ActiveCampaign, right? Email is not dead. Number 2, make sure that you have a pure webinar software program. So Be Live is something that you can go live on social media. That's perfect. But if you really want to make money while you sleep, and I know that probably sounds cliche, but it's realistic. If you really want to make money while you sleep, you have to automate it. So you actually need a webinar software system. One of the systems that will allow you to replay the exact same webinar and position it as if you were live. And it can be broadcast 5 times a day while you're in Miami, you're in Cancun, or wherever you choose or desire to travel to, okay? So that's a webinar, your webinar software system. And then last but not least, as I close it out, make sure that you have a signature presentation and a core offer. So that means that you have a solution to the problem that your prospective client has. I'll say that one more time. Please be sure to have an offer. Don't go live and you have no call to action, no product, because you're not going to generate any revenue. So we are here to solve problems. Speak Up, the book, is here to solve your problems, because it's going to position you to not only get more speaking opportunities, but get your message to the masses. So why jump on a plane when you can win with webinars? Brian, again, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to share these nuggets. Do me a favor, make sure that you grab your copy today at speakupthebook.com. You will not regret it. My name is Dakisha Williams, your virtual COO. Be passionate, be purposeful, but more importantly, be profitable. Brian?
All right, good stuff. Thank you so much. So you said Jayden is over there with you? So
Jayden, actually, here's what's funny, because this is not my normal background. I'm actually in Stafford. So shout out to Rob, because I was like trying to pick up my daughter from GW, get to my aunt's house with my son. They're both, one has a boot, one has crutches. And so now my aunt's over here rushing me. But I can do this from anywhere, right? So I set up in her dining room, and I was like, you think I'm not going to go on camera with this beautiful background? Yes, I am.
Yeah, tell her.
So yes, Jayden is here.
All of BSN and half the internet loves her drapes.
They love your drapes, Auntie. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you again.
Good stuff. Now, thank you so much to unpack there. And yeah, the Evergreen webinars is something I really want to jump into. Like, I feel like that's going to be the Q2, the Q3, Q4, BSN world, because there's a lot there that is just anytime stuff is automated, and going back to what we've been talking about in this entire monetization section, removing yourself from physically like doing the work once to continue to get paid for it, that I'm here for that all day long. So,
and I'll share one last thing with you, because you're
absolutely.
right.
Yep.
Because once you get that one webinar and it's perfected and it's automated, you scale it, and you can launch 4 times a year, and literally one product could change your life if you let it, can generate over 6 figures with one program.
Yeah. I mean, I see the Danielle Leslies of the world out there doing stuff, and I'm like, okay,
yes,
I need to, stop playing around.
Come on board.
Good stuff. All right, drop a 1 if that was helpful. Drop a 1 if you're tired of getting on the plane, or drop a 2 if you love getting on planes, but you love the option to not get on a plane if you don't have to. So good stuff. Everybody's putting 12. They're like, yes, both. Cool. All right. So we are wrapping up this section on monetization. We have 2 speakers left in the entire program, but 1 speaker left in our monetization module, and that is Lakeisha Womack. Now, really special about Lakeisha, first of all, title in her book is Producing Multiple Paths to Profit, Creating Multiple Streams of Income. Drop a 3 if you would appreciate having multiple streams of income in your speaking business. I mean, you're selling books, you're selling webinars, you're speaking, you're getting royalties, you have affiliate programs, you have products, you have consulting services, you just have multiple streams. Drop a 3 for me. Yes, Linda's here for it, Cassandra's here for it. Awesome. So here's what we're going to do. Lakeisha has mastered this, and the reason I know this is because Lakeisha is also one of our platform partners, and how I met Lakeisha, I was walking around Atlanta, and we had like a 2-hour phone conversation that was supposed to be 15 minutes, and I was telling her all about this crazy concept called BSN, and she was just dropping nugget after nugget after nugget, and I said, okay, this is somebody I need to stay in touch with. And when you think about all the stuff, first of all, she is the owner and lead consultant over at Womack Consulting Group. And when I first figured out, what she actually does, y'all, it's a lot. Like, it is a lot. She has a background in brand management, leadership training, strategic planning, political consultant. I'm like, what have you not done? But the bottom line is she's figured out this thing of creating multiple streams of income, because like Takesha just said, what do you want to do if ClickFunnels goes down and all your money is tied there? Or what do you want to do if you get hurt and you can't jump on a plane? Or what do you want to do if, whatever? So absolutely think that this is the perfect chapter to punctuate the end of our conversation around monetization. The other thing I want to talk about, Lakeisha, before she gets on, is that earlier you met Marshall, and Marshall from 120 Designs did the book cover. But I will tell you that this book would not exist if it was not for Lakeisha Womack. I reached out to Lakeisha in October and said, hey, I've been thinking about doing this collaborative book project. It has not stopped. It's been on my mind. Like, it won't leave me alone. And she said, oh, well, I can help with that. I'm like, you do another thing? And she's like, yeah, I help authors with putting together their collaborative books. And she was like, if you want to do it, let's make it happen. And so we put together a plan. We put in weekly calls, and she created this beautiful marketing program, project management spreadsheet, and said, hey, we can do it. And 3 months later, we had a book. Lakeisha led us through every step of that process, from conception to today, to the launch. And so Lakeisha was the editor and project manager for the Speak Up book. And so, definitely knows her stuff when it comes to this. So Lakeisha, and last thing is this, she's also on the road. And that's another thing that I'm super proud of about this team, is that, it's not just people talking about, hey, here's what you should do. Like, these people are actually doing it. Like, Lakeisha just wrapped up a speaking engagement a couple minutes ago. So certainly, fruit is on the tree there. But Lakeisha, I turn it over to you, and, thank you again for everything you did to help bring the book into reality, and for BSN at large.
Brian, can you upgrade Lakeisha from a panelist or from a participant to a panelist?
I sure can. I can upgrade anybody. Anybody else want to be a panelist? Hang on one second. Da-da-da-da. So I don't actually see her. I'm gonna try. Hang on one second.
She's an attendee. She's listed as an attendee.
Oh, sorry. I was on the other side. Cool. There you go. Lakeisha, can you? Yep.
Hello.
Hey, hey.
Hey, how is everyone? Well, I am, as Brian said, I'm traveling, so you can't see me, but I hope you guys can hear me. I do regret that. I don't know what's going on with technology, but I do want to thank Brian for allowing me to be a part of this project. As he said, he came to me in October, said he wanted to put together a book, and I said, let's make it happen. And that's what I specialize in doing with my clients. Whatever your goal or your dream is, bring it to me. I can create a plan and I will make it happen for you. One of the reasons I think creating multiple streams of income is so important, as you have heard almost every panelist say, building a speaker business is about more than just speaking on a stage. It's about figuring out how can I make this thing that I love doing, which is sharing knowledge, sharing information, sharing your experiences. How can I make this my livelihood? And let's be honest, people tell you to write a book. You're probably not going to make $1 million from writing a book. People tell you to become a professional speaker. It's going to be really hard to get people to pay your full speaker fee from the beginning. So it is imperative that you think about multiple streams of income that you can create. How many people would like to have multiple streams of income? Raise your hand. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, wow. Great comment from Lisa. So one of the things that I encourage my clients to do when we're looking at creating multiple streams of income is to think about what fits naturally with your brand. You don't want to jump out and do some things that you're doing just for money, but you're not doing and it fits into your brand. So if you are a youth speaker, then you don't want to jump out and start selling sex toys because that doesn't fit with your brand. But if you're a youth speaker and you decide that you want to have a collection of empowerment backpacks, or you decide that you want to do a collection of journals, those are things that fit within your brand. So I always encourage speakers, business owners, entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you should definitely be looking at different streams of income that you can use to help you reach whatever your financial goal is. You don't want it to be something that's off brand or that takes you off message, but if 1 month people are buying more books than getting you booked for speaking engagements, you still have income coming in, because there's no guarantee that one stream of income is going to be consistent every month. So the more streams that you can create that are in alignment with your brand message, the better your income statement is going to look at the end of the year. I absolutely love working with speakers because we have so much potential. You can look at your speaking platform and you can decide what types of products you want to offer. You can look at what types of services, what types of programs. Definitely encourage you to get the Speak Up book. I think that I am probably one of the only people that has read this book like 5 or 6 times because I did the editing. And even as someone who's been an entrepreneur since 2005, I can guarantee you that this book will bless your business. I learned so much just from the editing and proofreading that I was taking notes like, wow, these are some areas that I can improve my own business in. And I've already started to implement some of those changes, and I've seen an increase in speaking engagements. So please go to speakupthebook.com, get your chapter, connect with the authors. That is one of the greatest things about this project is the authors who have contributed, they want to work with you. So it's not like we just said, okay, here's a chapter, here's some information, do with it what you want. Almost all of us have programs and we have services that we're willing to offer and to help you to build your platform so that you can be successful. So thanks again, you guys, for having me on. It has been such a pleasure to work on this project and to get to know this amazing group of authors. And I really cannot see what happens next with this project. Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And appreciate that. And so multiple streams of income is absolutely where it's at. I know that's my goal. I know that's many of our goals. And I agree with what you said, Lakeisha, in terms of making sure that you connect with the authors. I think the other big piece of having a network is to network, as George Fraser alluded to earlier. So, I think that's awesome. So we are at the end of the road. We got one last speaker, but we definitely, she's coming to us, holding it down for our last M, which is management of your speaking business. And so as we kind of think about this piece, and it's kind of hard because, Lena can actually be in either one of these M's. I mean, I've seen her do it all. She's a certified speaking coach, so she could certainly be on the message side of the house, hails from Southampton, New York, Long Island in the building. She's had a passion for growth and development, as well as a dynamic business partner. She is absolutely a game changer and a visionary. And Lena, I really wish, I know you're having some technical challenges there in the beginning, but I know George Fraser would have been proud to see you right now because I know you recently connected with him and is going to be doing some work. So, it's just really cool to see some of the outcomes and some of the points of connectivity here. But that's as a direct result of what we're talking about today, which is your chapter in the book, What's in the Brand Bag, Speaker Essentials for the Stage. And you might say, what are you talking about with this bag? Well, if you've been on social media at all, if you followed her or, what she's doing over at the Professional Speaker Concierge Service, you would know that she heads an organization, an exclusive service for influencers who really, I don't know if you've been in a situation where you've had to speak and something goes wrong, whether you're missing something, the meeting planner didn't tell you what room you're going to be in, you look down and you got lint all over your suit, like something's going to happen that's, not necessarily out of your control, but you have a lot to think about when you go on the speaking engagements. And so what she's done is put together an on-demand service, without needing a full-time assistant, because who can afford that? But giving speakers the ability to solely focus just on that message when they're there to speak. And so as we get into this topic of management, there are going to be a lot of things that you need to kind of have in place in the speaking business. And some of them you can outsource to technology. Some of them you could, have a virtual assistant do, but sometimes you just need that white glove approach and somebody that's really just looking out for your best interests. And that's something that she absolutely does. So I'll let her talk a little bit more about that. But Lena Ware, I'll turn it over to you. Oh, you are muted.
I just unmuted myself. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so super excited. Okay, so Speak Up, the book, it's out. Bestseller. I already had told Brian, like, hey, you don't even have to tell me in the morning. I already know. Very, very thankful to have worked with, let me tell you, Lakeisha, Brian, today, Tamara. Just thank you guys for just being professional, patient. And a lot of us speakers, we're very busy in our businesses. And so it takes a lot to get this many people to be a part of a project this awesome. And of course, Dr. Fraser and Les Brown to contribute as well. So yeah, my chapter is crazy. So again, my name is Lena Ware, and the company that I have and the chapter, and I wanted to discuss, which I think is most important when you're managing the stage, is not just about getting on the stage and saying a great message, everybody stands up and claps. That's not the only thing that we do. And I've learned a whole lot. I have all these nuggets I've been writing down. Everybody has just gave a lot of themselves in this book. So we've learned about LinkedIn, how to use that to monetize. We talked about TED Talks, your websites, how is it important, hosting, sales, all of that. But what my chapter is about, what's in your brand bag? What's in your brand bag? So you might have all of these ideas of what you want to do, but if you plan, but you don't prepare well, then you may say a great message and the things that you brought with you could help you or help you fail. So sometimes it's not always the best thing. So some of the items, I listed 15 items in the book out of the 40 that we normally carry in our duffel bag. And so if you guys have ever looked at anything on my social media, you'll see just a a plethora of women and men that have duffel bags. And my whole thing is, when you go to an event, are you actually prepared with whatever you thought you were, whatever the outcome is, or what you were thinking? And so if you're telling yourself, I'm just going to sell 200 books, and you only brought 100 books with you, how realistic is the goal that you've set for yourself? And so in my duffel bag, and I brought one here, and you know what, and this is the first time people are going to be able to see what's kind of in the duffel bag. And I'll show you certain tidbits, because I think some of us forget, you know what, even in the chat, put one of the items, and you guys here too, just put an item that you normally forget every single time. Or you're like, you know what, I forgot this. I probably have it in this duffel bag. The cool thing about bringing things to the stage inside the duffel, and even if you just bring your big, you know, everybody has like a different kind of purse. Some of us ladies, we have that big purse that fits like everything in it. But okay, so Brian says his wireless clicker. Okay, got you. Anybody else? Like, what else do you guys forget the day of your speaking engagement? I know for me, I might need a safety pin or a bobby pin, just the littlest thing that just throws you off. And when you get on stage, it's the only thing you're thinking about. So someone said phone cord. So yeah, so I have portable phone chargers. I do have that on the list. That's one of the top items that I say, have a portable phone charger. Everybody's trying to contact you. How do I get to the event space? Even though, you know, if you are the speaker, they shouldn't be contacting you, but people can be human sometimes. But even in, so this, I went to, what is that place called? I hate that place because you spend so much money, which is the Container Store. And this is a sample of like just being able to departmentalize what actually goes in the bag when we bring the duffel. So this is just an idea of what it looks like. So we have safety pins, mints. What else did I put in the book? Because you want to make sure that you're only listing certain items. Hand sanitizer, you shake a whole lot of hands, you're kissing all these babies and you're getting connected. So you want to make sure that you are very prepared for whatever it is that you're trying to do. Another thing, I didn't put it in the book. I don't have it anywhere, but I do believe you should bring whatever your next step thing is. So a lot of people are saying, hey, sign up, you're on my mailing list or whatever, but some people may not have a next step card or saying, hey, this is the next step. So a lot of times, you know, us speakers, we get so excited about the message, but are we truly preparing ourselves to the podium, for the profit that we're trying to make? So a lot of times people are like, no, I'm not trying to make money. I just love to give to the people. And I don't know about you, but at the end of the day, if that's all you're doing, I mean, you can speak for the rest of your life for free. But people that are trying to make a profit, you're trying to sell a service, you're trying to sell a book or a program, whatever that is. Some people may forget their swiper, the little square. So some people have square, everybody is different. You can calculate everything and know what your goal is. So if you're saying, I need to sell this many items in order to either break even or to get green, how do you make sure that in your duffel or in your, whatever you're personally bringing to the stage, that you are actually going to make sure that you accomplish those goals that you set out for yourself? And so, and I'll show you even some more items, like even, it's the littlest thing, I promise you. The little connector for your phone charger. Sometimes you're like, I have the other piece, but I don't have the other piece. Little things. What else is in here? Mints are always good. So the reason why I signed on a little bit late, my mom was like, where is your face? And so, and this is one of the water bottles. Linda Clemens was speaking down south of Dallas, which is like about an hour away from me. But I wanted to make sure that if I could serve her in any capacity, let me just bring some water. Let me make sure she has mints. And so the management piece of what I bring to the table in this chapter is serving, the art of serving speakers, because I think a lot of us are so focused on our message, we're pulling our hair out, and you guys are undergirding the responsibility to influence someone, to teach someone something. Why do you want to worry about your PowerPoint presentation? Even though you probably should have had all of your details in a while before the actual event, but things happen. And so what my chapter is about is making sure that you're not just thinking about the message. You're not just thinking about the profit, but that you're also being prepared mentally of what you're going to bring to actually push into fruition or manifestation the items that you need to bring in order for that to happen for you. So like, what else is in this? I mean, I'm just saying, let me just, limp brush roller. You guys know, you get there, you're wearing all black and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to be like, I gotta make sure. We even have steamers, making sure that, you know, some of us, especially ladies, we bring our outfit, we're wearing our Uggs, we get there and our stuff is maybe on a hanger and, you know, you unzip it and you're like, oh my goodness, the dress is wrinkled, crap. Sometimes you don't have on deck a steamer. So some things that you need to make sure you think about before you just all of a sudden just go to the stage or you just show up to wherever you got to speak. And some of us are landing from somewhere else. You're just going into another city and you just land and you just have to rush to get to your speaking engagement. And you're like, I don't have everything with me. So maybe creating your own checklist of the items that are necessary for you to be successful is going to be really super important. And your list may look different than my list, but I will say that in this duffel that we provide, we have about 40 items of the main things that people forget. If that's brushes, just little things, combs, you got to get them little baby hairs. Like right now, they're little baby hairs just coming out. But just to make sure that you don't have to worry about anything. The last thing you want to worry about is my phone's about to die. My mom wanted to see me on Facebook Live and now I can't do it from my account or whatever it is, You really want to make sure that you're prepared. And the great thing about this book, from A to Z, we're talking about money. We're talking about not just management and sales at the podium. And since I'm taking it home, and Brian, definitely keep me honest with my time. This book, if you're a speaker, I don't care if you're in high school, my grandfather gave me this idea. Your alma maters should have this book in their library. You got to do PowerPoint presentations. Eventually these kids got to go off to college, or if they're in college, they have to start getting prepared for the workspace and preparing. And it might not be to make a profit, but just to be able to speak and say something that's on their minds. And you want to make sure that if they need a clicker, Brian, whatever it is that you need, that you are making sure that you bring it with you and that you're supplying yourself and you're matching not only your goals and how you're going to prepare for the podium for your profit, or if it's just to get a message across, that you're bringing things with you that walk alongside what you're thinking. So don't just say, I'm just going to make this amount of money, or I'm just going to get this message across and have a great hand clap. If you don't have things carried, and I'll bring this all the way up. This duffel bag, I love that I put this thing in my car, bringing items that help the manifestation of what you are trying to accomplish. You can't just say, I'm gonna just show up and that's it. If you don't properly prepare, you're not going to get what you're trying to execute at the end of the day for your speaking engagements. I love the fact that a couple of people had talked about not just your websites, but who was that? Dakisha was talking about your follow-up method. If you don't have these things in place, your next steps or your follow-up idea, you're just going to say a really good message. And you know what? The best of the best prepare. They have a routine or they bring their thing. And as I'm closing, I'll just say this. I was sharing on my Facebook Live. So Dr. George Fraser, I had the privilege getting from the airport, and he came into, mind you, I'm just following him with his suitcase, and he gets to the stage, mind you, I'm just following him. He gets to the stage, and then from the stage, his face just changes, and he's like, this is a little awkward because I left my notebook. I write in it, and it's for the last 30 years I've been writing in this notebook. And it's my security blanket. And this is important to me. I'm I'm looking around and I'm like, is anybody going to call the airport? Is anybody going to find out, how they're going to connect and make sure that he gets this notebook? Because you guys already know, if you lose something at the airport, it's a wrap for you. It just goes into a black hole. You're never going to see it again. Just counts it a loss. I went outside the room. Mind you, I didn't know when we picked him up from the airport, he didn't know and I didn't know that he didn't have this notebook. These are items that make, when you go to the podium, you may have a book that's important to you, your notes or whatever it is that you need to recall something. And so I rushed to the airport. Mind you, I changed and put my Uggs on. Go to the airport, and I had just met a gentleman, and this goes into the networking and why networking is so important and getting their contact information, just like Dakisha and Keisha was talking about, getting their contacts. So I called this person that I just randomly met, and I said, hey, I know we just met at this conference, but are you at the Dulles airport? Because I know you're flying out today. He said, yes. I'm like, good. Okay, are you at Delta Airlines? Yes. Okay, great. I'm gonna send you Dr. George Frazier's information, his flight information. And I wanna see if we can find this notebook. This is, and not to get wholly on you, but this is how God works. Dr. George Frazier came in from Atlanta. This person, even though that they were flying to San Diego, this person happened to be going to make a layover in Atlanta, happened to be on the same aircraft as Dr. George Frazier. And we were able to retrieve this notebook that I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I had to wait 45 minutes to get it from security and all that kind of stuff. But this is what's important to that particular speaker. You need to know what your notebook is in your life and for your stage, and how are you going to make sure that you say the certain pointers. I heard Dr. Frazier talk about, if you have 30 seconds, what are you gonna say that impacts them? And it might be in your notebook, your little go-to area that you're like, you know what, if I got a couple of minutes, I at least gotta hit boom, boom, boom. And that's his thing. That has to be in his brand bag, is his notebook. And I know that for the rest of my life, that if Dr. Frazier does not have his notebook, this could be an issue. So what is your notebook? What is important that you need to make sure that you have every single time that you hit the stage, to make sure that you're going to either maximize your exposure, or if it's your profit margin, whatever that is, you want to make sure that you bring that to the stage and not just talk about it, but you're actually preparing and making sure that you're going to secure whatever it is that you have. It's a powerful question. Thanks, Brian. It is a powerful question. What's in the brand bag, and especially your brand bag? You don't want to just show up. You don't want just a hand clap. You want to make sure whatever goals that you've set for yourself, and you should have goals, and somebody talked about strategy, somebody did talk about planning, and if you haven't done any of those things, you're just talking just a talk. And this whole book is about speaking up, and that's either in the area of influencing someone to do something, convincing somebody, or teaching someone something that they didn't know previously. That's a big deal. And you don't want to worry about the last minute, minute little things that are not as important as the message that you're trying to get across. So my chapter, what's in your brand bag? Everything's in my brand bag. I promise you, everything that you could probably imagine. So thank you guys so much. Brian, I'm so thankful for you, because you really put a unique group together to execute a wonderful vision. So thanks so much. And back to you, Brian.
So much to unpack there. I think, first of all, I love that story. I saw Lisa wrote a comment on that too. I remember when that first happened, and you shared it with me, and I was just blown away. Like, wow, that should be just like your commercial right there. And it's powerful too. So yeah, so many great nuggets there. Perfect way to close us out, Lena. And then the other thing too is, I really want to know that, first of all, the bag is bigger than I thought in real life. And I'm on a Facebook here, and I was like, man, she has a steamer in that bag. Like, I feel like that's like a magical, like Mary Poppins bag, where like, what do you need? Like a Nissan Altima? Here you go. Boom, I got it right here. That's pretty wild. But so many true, everything you said was true. And certainly as we're thinking about that, you can go through. So guys, Speak Up the book is here. I don't really have too much to say. We've been talking about it for 2 hours, and if you don't want it by now, probably, I don't know, not a speaker. But I do want to bring back Keisha really quick, because oftentimes we get these questions like, what type of, like, where are your live events? Where can you go to connect with things that BSN are doing. And for our model, we've been partnering a lot. We talked about the Power Networking Conference that George Fraser, Lane is going to be there in full force with the team. I'll be there. So, you know, and thinking about those, Keisha, you know, she has an event coming up, and then I'll talk about a few more in terms of some live events that we're doing for the book, and then we're done. So Keisha, if you want to come back really quick, and we can get rolling.
All right. Hey. So what I wanted to speak with, what I wanted to mention as we are inside of our book launch and about to wrap up is that my business, KNR Communications, we have launched a branding and marketing accelerator program for entrepreneurs. So when I was talking about strategy and understanding how your strategy works for your speaking business, that's the whole entire gist of the program. So it goes through 4 different phases of strategic systems, how to reach your ideal client, how to monetize your brand, and how to advertise online. And it is open to 10 entrepreneurs. It's a very select program. If you all are interested, I'm going to just drop the link inside of the chat for you to learn more information about it. The next cohort does start on March the 25th. Yep.
Awesome. And
Thank you.
I would drop it, Keisha, in the Facebook Live feed too. We got a lot of people that are on and be watching the replay.
Okay, will do.
Cool. Keeping it exclusive. 10 people. You better hurry up.
Yes.
All right. So we're at the end of the road. I'm gonna go ahead and we got 2 more event announcements. If my computer, here we go. Okay. So, nope, too far. All right. So we are taking this book on the road. I'm excited to hit some cities. Well, one is in my own backyard. So if you have the book in hand, or if you don't, and you're like, okay, you know, I really will love to, number one, continue to get more information, because drop a 1 in the comments if you feel like this was valuable. Drop a 1 on Facebook if this was valuable. You feel like you took away some nuggets, if it kind of scratched the surface or what you were looking for. Good stuff. So we're going to be doing this a lot more. In addition to that, we already host the virtual BSN speaker development webinars every 4th Sunday, which are available for BSN Silver members. But we are coming live, like Mathan said, nothing like hosting your own live event. So we're going to be doing that for our official book launches. The first one will be Saturday, April 27th. It's from 9 to 1 here in Baltimore. And you don't have to be in Baltimore to come. So anybody on the Eastern Seaboard, on this side of the Rocky Mountains, can come. Canada included, because we have Krista up there in Toronto. We got a ton of folks in Toronto, Baltimore. We're going to be at the Hyatt Place BWI Hotel. There, you can see the speakers that are going to be here. Cheryl Wood, homegrown hero Pam Perry. You heard it earlier. Introduced Dr. Frazier. She'll be here. Altavis. We got Lenita, Chanel, Tiffany Bethia, Cliff Townsend, Quinn Conyers, and Reginald and Reggie and Hennifer Gant. So we're going to continue to share information around the chapters in the book, as well as get an opportunity to meet not only other speakers, but also the authors as well. So that's coming up. If you're on the East Coast, we'd love to meet you in person. We will be signing some books as well. So if you do have a book, you could do that. The way the book launch events are going to work, and the links will be going live pretty soon. But the way the events will work is that I believe it's $20 to register, and you get a free copy of the book. You get a copy of the book included when you register. And so you get a savings there, because the book retails for $25 and you get it autographs. So that's great. And if you already have a copy of the book, I believe it's $10 to still get in, but then we can sign your book once you get there. And so either way, you can win, or you can buy additional copies when you get there. But we'll see you in Baltimore. If you're on this side of the Rocky Mountains, if you're on the other side of the Rocky Mountains, looking at you, California, Texas, Seattle, Washington, etc. We are going to have a West Coast event June 1st, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, LA, California, we're going to be at the Embassy Suites North, which is important because apparently there's 2 Embassy Suites in the same, like in a 5-block radius in the LAX area, which is insane. But they're going to be we're going to be at the Embassy Suite North. So make sure you go to North, not South. If you go to South, you're running the webinar or you're running the event. If you go to North, you can hang out with us as well as Rakita. We'll have Summer Alexandra there, Dupe Alaru, Crystal Berger, Keandra Jackson, who lives there. Dupe is out there as well. Dr. Will Moreland out of Phoenix. We'll have Wally and Chantel, Aurora Gregory, and Krista joining us down from Toronto. So both events are going to be great. I'll personally be at both of them and probably speaking more so at the Baltimore event, but would love the opportunity to meet you, whether it's at one of our partner events or at the one of these events. And I believe that's it. Thank you for hanging out with us on a Saturday afternoon. We know that there are a ton of things you could be doing with your weekend, but you know, as you did, my only ask is that, you know, as you continue to share the word of, you know, the book, and as it starts to impact you, you know, we didn't write this to, you know, sit on your shelf, or, you know, only order it if you're ready to take action in your speaking business. And then as you take action, you know, we want to hear about it. Leave us a review on Amazon. Let us know how the book is impacting you. Let us know on our Facebook or any of our social media properties. You can follow us at Black Speakers Network. You can follow any of our authors. All of their information is in the book. And so do that. Connect with them and let them know how that information is impacting you. That's my only ask. If you get it, just share back so we know what's happening. But with that, I want to give a congratulations to all of our amazing co-authors, everybody that purchased the book, everybody that shared, everybody that helped make this a reality. Have an amazing, amazing weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Kanika, are you fanning yourself or are you trying to get my attention? You were saying bye? Okay. Yes, I'll stay on. I'm going to end the recording now, but if anybody wants to stay on and chat, authors or participants, I'll be happy to do so. I'm going to stop sharing my screen too. Facebook, thank you so much. Lots of love on Facebook. We got Darnell Jervy. What's going on? Got some legends. Kanika, I didn't recognize you without the red glasses.
Speaking's over.
You doing good?
I'm good.
Good.
I was reading through this wonderful book here.
Great job. Yeah, it's thick. It's thick, right? I didn't realize.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely you know, I got to do 60,000 words, so it's definitely probably a good amount of word count in here. I don't know what the word count is, but it has surpassed 240 pages.
Yeah, we're at 275, 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I just hit 20,000 so for my book. So
yeah, it's coming along. You're making it happen. Multiple times I saw author. Keisha, you doing good?
Yeah, I'm jealous that y'all have this book and I don't have mine yet.
It literally came before I got on camera, and I was at the door was knocking, and I said, "Who's at the door?" And some white van shows up, and it's the guy with the book. I said, "Oh, that must be my Speak Up book." So I said, "I better get the book and get on camera so I can, you know, show people." I thought it was coming yesterday, but
in the interest of full transparency, I don't even have the book yet. If you look really closely, this is the proof of the book that we ordered before, just to make sure that like nobody's logo was crooked. So I still don't even have the book. There's supposed to be a shipment here now, and I still don't have it. So don't feel slighted. And I think I ordered everybody that submitted that form.
Yeah, I don't think mine's is coming till next week with what you sent to me. You said the 16th.
Yeah. Horace, you need to go to bed.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this. I didn't think you were still on.
Actually, I was in bed. I turned the camera off, and I was in bed listening to the whole thing. But, sorry, I couldn't give more content. I wanted to give some more, but I knew I was going to start coughing up a storm if I talked too long. But during the time you guys were, saying you got books, I just ran to my mailbox to see if I got a book. I was highly disappointed. Hey, how everybody?
I feel you.
my book yet, but I guess mine will come next week. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about reading everyone else's contribution. I think this is going to be a true game changer. I don't think we recognize the influence this book will have years to come. Like how those books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those books are always in the loop.
Your rotation.
And always on the Amazon list because those are staple books that people written years ago, but people still use today. And the Robert Rules of Order and all that stuff. I think this book will be one of those books where in 10, 15 years, we're still using it as a reference. So,
you know what's funny about that? We beat, well, it's on pre-order, but number 3 in our category is Robert's Rules of Order, and we beat them to take the spot.
Yeah, that's because they've been around for so long. But we may have that type of longevity too. We may be on that list for a while.
That'd be dope. Yeah, man. I think it's good stuff. And I'm excited to continue to go through. I think I'm gonna replace this shelf and just have it be the whole like BSN shelf, not just with ours, but we're going to do a next week. We're launching for silver members and platform partners on our website a BSN bookstore. So if you're a member or partner, you can have your book on there, one book per member or partner, and then a podcast section. Going back to what you were saying, Kanika, to figure out like, hey, curated list of podcasts, so make it easy for people to find. So we're excited about that.
I was thinking like, even as I pitch myself to podcast shows, I think it's important for me to use this book as a platform to talk about this for other people to understand that you don't have to be a speaker to pitch yourself to a podcast show. You can have any type of brand or business, and using that platform is just technology to leverage your business. So I think that it'll be good from just a business perspective or just a branding perspective to talk about how do you actually go about pitching yourself to a podcast show, even if you're just not a speaker. So, yeah, because I'm dropping like a couple more podcast shows this month. So, recordings. I feel like I'm just doing too many podcast shows and I need to do more video. I feel like podcasting is becoming very, very easy for me and I need to get more comfortable. So I'm launching my own YouTube channel. So we didn't talk a lot about video in the book. Maybe we did, but I don't know. Did anyone talk about video, using video as a marketing tool for, I guess it's a social media tool, I guess.
Yeah, well, it falls on social media, but video is actually, I don't think we had anybody specific about it, but I actually have a call later with one of our new platform partners. His name's Mike Monday, out of Atlanta, and he is, you know him, Lena?
No, but I need to.
Oh yeah, he's great. He actually he's married to Jessica Lundy, and she was out of Detroit. Now she's in Atlanta too. But
oh my goodness, I know who that is.
Yeah, that's her husband. So he does great videography work. So we're going to be doing a webinar with him on speaker reels and I think just video content in general. We got some people in the Facebook. So folks on Facebook, Altaviz is she's saying some stuff. She said, I went and checked for my copy of the book too, but it wasn't there. Yeah, y'all, everybody should have books next week, hopefully.
Sorry, I filled out my form first. Maybe I was the first person to fill out my form.
I'm gonna go check my mailbox.
I don't think anybody's getting it that quick. I mean, well, Amazon, I mean, who knows? Amazon is Amazon, but
I just think I'm a Prime member,
Well, if we're going by that logic, I mean, I live down the street from a distribution center, so they should have.
But they're going. This is going to go all around the United States first before it gets to you, even though you live down the street. Right?
I know. It's the other day I called somebody. Like we were using a cell phone, called somebody, and it took like almost like 30 seconds for the call to go through. I'm like, you're standing right next to me. Like it probably bounced off like a Russian satellite, went to Israel, came back. It was ridiculous. How y'all feeling? Who's who else is on? Dakisha, are you still on? I see Dakisha, Pam Perry, Tamara. Tamara, I want to say great job. You crushed it. She was like behind the scenes doing all types of
Shout out to
moderator wizardry.
Machine. She's the machine.
Super impressive. Like,
by the way, just to kind of touch on what Kanika said, I think Kanika was talking about having like a visual, or maybe a video section if that was part of the book. But you know, I'm sure this probably you're not thinking about this yet, but when version 2 of this book comes out and you have a next set of 32 collaborative speakers, maybe we can have that be one of the sections that someone discusses when
well,
you know.
I think well we are in early conversations of that, and kind of, I mean, you all noticed this because each of you, how you got in the book in the first place, like we didn't do a call for authors. It was everyone who was already a platform partner or participated on a webinar last year and everything. And so we already have a 2019 cohort, if you will, developing from this. April's actually one of them, but that'd be that. But I'm thinking we segment probably by each M. So each M can kind of be its own book and just do a deeper dive on marketing, management.
Oh yeah, that'd be wonderful. Because there are so many things that I wanted to be able to say in my section that the space wouldn't provide for me to give a cohesive, in-depth approach to it. So I just had to do what I could, which I thought the best that I could within, you know, the space that I had to work with. But yeah, being able to do a deeper dive would be a phenomenal thing, because there's so much to talk about when it comes to TEDx and TED presenting and speaking and the preparation and what to do after a TED talk. Like, okay, now it's presented, now what? You know, how do you market that? How do you use it? How do you leverage that to build your business and to send your message out there? So there's so, you know, there's so much to talk about that.
So what I'm hearing is you need your own book.
Well, yeah, I'm actually working on that. You know, I have a few book ideas. Yeah.
Well, you just wrote half of it. All we gotta do is send it to rev.com and let them transcribe the joint. You're good. Like,
you're right.
We done.
Yeah, I think you're right about the TED Talk, because I think I want to do a TED Talk and I'm applying to do a TED Talk, and that requires video and it requires, you know, to be ready for video.
Yes.
I would love to, I guess, if you did do a book about that, is like assessing there's a lot of TED Talk books out already on the market, assessing what is already out there and figuring out like what are they not covering? What are these other TED Talk authors are not speaking upon? Because, you know, when you go into Barnes and Nobles, there's like a few authors that are bestsellers for TED Talks. Do you find that there's something that you just didn't learn in your research that you didn't see covered, that you would provide that unique value?
I think so, because a lot of people write from the perspective of either they've given a TED Talk or they've just watched a lot of TED Talks. But the fact that I've organized them and I've actually had to choose speakers for them, and people had to pitch to me their ideas and their pitches that worked and pitches that don't work, you know, I'm in a unique position to say, well, even though every organizer has their own idea of what they want to see, because every TED event has its own theme. So there are lots of variables in play that you can't really predict for, and it's more of a numbers game and presentation game, and how you present and pitch your TED Talk is as important as the TED Talk itself, because you may have a great idea, but you lack the skills to pitch it and to get someone to actually buy into that idea. So to me, that's the part that we need to have more emphasis on, and probably a little bit more in-depth research and material to cover that part of it. So if I were to do that, I'd probably do something along those lines of pitching it, getting it to the eyes, because you know a lot of these TED events get hundreds of submissions. What will make yours? And everyone thinks they have the best idea. Everyone thinks their idea is a life-changing, world-changing idea, but how do you pitch it? It could be, maybe it's not such a great idea, but you're able to pitch it well, so they think it is. So it's really about how you pitch it.
Okay.
I know I got a great idea, but I ain't gonna say what it is right now.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, never.
Oh, okay. We're not partners. I forgot. Oh, yeah.
May or may not. Well, we're still on Facebook Live, so I don't want it to. I would tell y'all, but I don't want to tell the entire interwebs.
Oh, yeah.
I'll call everybody individually. Cool. Well, I am going to go get some food and
Put this mute. Cough. Sorry.
Go get some cough drops.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a mute button. See, I don't hear me talk.
You are all good. You are all good. Oh, and Keisha, if you want to email me about the event, if you don't sell out, then we could push that out too on our side.
Okay, I'll send it to you. I do have a question for Horace though. When do you think when will be the next time that you will actually organize a TED Talk, and what locations are you or are the talks based?
I have a few people pitching to me for me to organize TED Talks for them, but it would probably be in Miami or Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking at end of
like yes.
Too, you have to be willing to fly to wherever those TED Talks are. Like
I'm willing and able.
You're going to be pitching to all these different places. You're going to have to be willing to have money for the airfare and the hotel stay, and just fly to wherever you need to fly to, because a lot of regions may not have as